pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What you're expecting to hear right now, the announcement of today's KSVIP. Well, I don't have a name for today, and I need your help. If you know someone who needs to be recognized for being a very special person, call right now, 746-2751. Ask for Tana and schedule a KSVIP. Your special someone will be recognized at this time all day long on their day, and they'll receive a flower courtesy of Lovebud Floral in Artesia. So call today and schedule your KSVIP.
They see me mowing my front lawn. I know they're all thinking I'm so white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters. So far they all think I'm too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy. Really, really white and nerdy. My class here at MIT. Got skills, I'm a champion at D&D.
Welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. Happy Thursday to all of us and all of you, as it is Thursday, February 16th, 2023. We're on the downside of February now. And so there you go. Hey, we've got a great show lined up for you today. We have some awesome guests, and we'll also chit-chat about other things going on around the world today. We're going to talk about Heart Health Month event that's taking place later on today at Artesia General Hospital. That'll be coming up first on the show. In the 8 o'clock hour, we have the Lois Oliver Show, and we're going to talk bugs. Things that you have to do if you're buying or selling a house, or have to be done if you're getting ready to buy or sell a house. And a new listing. Lois Oliver Real Estate sent over some pictures, so if you're watching online, we'll describe it on the radio, of course, but we'll show the pictures of a brand new listing with Lois Oliver Real Estate. That's in the 8 o'clock hour. Senior Center Report in the 8 o'clock hour, and then in the 9 o'clock hour, Aaron Irving and Jokes, and market news, and our weekly visit with Michael Redman from the Artesia Historical Museum and Art Center. Coming up tomorrow on the show, just a little heads up, Drama Department has a play that they're competing with, and they're going to have a performance of that play for the public. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Altrusa is going to be back here tomorrow. The Smorgasbord is coming up on Sunday, plus our weekly visit with our librarian and Linda Stevens. And then we've got high school sports on the radio and the TV on Friday night, as Artesia High Boys and Girls hosting Goddard, and Roswell High Girls hosting Clovis. So that's all coming up tomorrow. on radio and TV. So we're looking forward to getting all of that done. Let's go ahead and get started with the show. The first thing we're going to take a look at is our weather, and I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as windy as it was it's been the last couple of days. It's going to be chilly, though. Steve, what do you have for our forecast?
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have cool high pressure moving back into eastern New Mexico today, 40 to 45 on our afternoon highs, and we should get sunshine and fairly light wind. Overnight will be clear and cold. We'll drop into the upper teens, and then we start warming up a little bit on Friday, sunshine and close to 50. By Saturday, we're back to the low 60s, upper 60s on Sunday, and sunny. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Right now, we've got sunshine, 20 degrees at this hour. In Artesia, our humidity is at 72%. The dew point is 12. Our winds are out of the north at 6 with gusts to 10 miles per hour at this hour. Our pressure at 30.35 and rising. Our air quality is 48. And when you mix all of that together, it feels like it's 12 with the wind and the temperature and the humidity and all that stuff. Our air quality index is 48, which is good. Our sunset will be at 5:43, and our sunrise will be at 6:38 this in the morning. Carlsbad, sunny and 23, 18 in Roswell and Hobbs. Around New Mexico, sunshine, 18 in Albuquerque, 8 in Santa Fe, 10 in Cloudcroft, 8 in Ruidoso, 24 in Las Cruces, 3 at Farmington, -3 at Red River, 12 in Clovis, and in West Texas, sunny and 18 in Lubbock. Chance of some flurries within the next hour, cloudy and 31 in El Paso. And again, here in Artesia, we've got sunshine and 20 degrees. Let's look at our lunch menus for today in the Artesia Public Schools. For breakfast today, it'll be the Cine Mini Rolls. For lunch today, it'll be the cheeseburger, lettuce and pickles, some French fries, and fruit cocktail. So it's cheeseburger and fries today in the Artesia Public Schools. Senior meal site today, green chili cheeseburger, lettuce, tomato, and onion, ranch-style beans, French fries, and mandarin oranges. So it's green chili cheeseburger today at the senior meal site. Senior Center today is exercise video at 8:15, the painters at 9, beginning line dancers at 9:30, bridge at 1 o'clock, open art studio at 1 o'clock, Swedish weaving at 1:30, and the Texas Hold'em at 2 o'clock. Low-income tax rebate assistance. So VITA volunteers will be there to help you fill out your low-income tax rebate forms. They'll be helping out from 9 to 11 and 1 to 3 today. Make sure you bring all the necessary stuff, income information, everything else, so that they can help you to get your paperwork filled out so that you can get it filed and get your low-income tax rebate. There is a dance tonight, music by Kay, and a reminder that tomorrow Howard will be at the Senior Center from Here on Earth for hearing aid service and battery sales. He'll be there tomorrow, 9 to 11. At the Artesia Public Library today, it's toddler play at 11 o'clock for ages 1 to 3. Group musical activities and social playtime with age-appropriate toys. That's at 11 today. And then at 4 o'clock this afternoon, STEAM after school for grades K through 6. Science experiments, rock blocks, Legos, circuits, coding games. That's at 4 o'clock this afternoon at the library. Schools today, it's FFA Day at the Roundhouse. The state swim meet is taking place this weekend, starting today at the, I think they swim at the Albuquerque Academy pool, which is like an Olympic Pretty nice pool facility there in Albuquerque. And then at 12:30 today, Grand Heights will have their PTO meeting. So that's the Grand Heights PTO at 12:30 today. Birthdays today: Nancy Kilgore, Bill White, and Deborah Earl. Happy birthday to all of you from all of us here at KSVP. All right, we're going to take the break. We're going to welcome in our guests and invite you to a special event that's taking place later today at Artesia General Hospital. That's coming up next on the Good Morning Artesia radio show.
Lots of folks are buying used vehicles these days, and you know they're just as proud of them as if they were brand new. And why not? The pre-owned cars and trucks at Roswell Ford look and smell brand new. And Roswell Ford stands behind every pre-owned vehicle with a 3-day money-back guarantee and a complimentary 90-day 4,000-mile warranty. Roswell Ford has more than 400 vehicles in stock, by far the biggest selection in this part of the state, with new Fords arriving all the time, so it only makes sense to come see us first when you're ready to start car shopping. Speaking of pride, our customers are just tickled with our mobile service van that comes to your home or work and turns your driveway or parking lot into a service bay. We can take care of routine maintenance like oil and filter changes, tire rotations, and battery service, and you don't have to be without your vehicle. Of course, some restrictions apply. For great selection and great service, you can count on your friends at the Tailgate Nation.
In volatile times, it's natural to worry about your retirement.
Hon, I'm worried about our retirement account.
With today's economy, it just makes sense to keep your retirement money close to home with people you know. We have several guaranteed safe options. Peace of mind with retirement savings. It just makes sense. Western Bank of Artesia. Member FDIC. It just makes sense.
Dean's Inc. of Artesia provides a superior choice for all your electrification, communication, and supply needs, with a vision to be the premier industrial electrical service provider in New Mexico and West Texas, providing unparalleled quality in supplies and service with highly skilled and conscious personnel. We pledge to our customers to exhibit the utmost in integrity and reputation while providing superior quality in all we do. Dean's Inc., located at 409 Commerce Road or online at deansinc.com.
Sure, you can inspect your own roof, get out that rickety ladder, crawl around up there and try to spot the problem until... Or you can call the experts at Do Right Roofing. Do Right Roofing has quality products for any type of roof. They can even install seamless gutters. Do Right Roofing will inspect your roof and give you a free estimate fast. Keep your feet on the ground. Call Do Right Roofing today.
575-623-2273. Let Do Right do your roof right.
Find them fast in names and numbers.
Hello, this is Andrew Davidson, Market President of First National Bank.
And this is Jana Gentry, Residential Mortgage Lender.
We offer a full range of financial products that create possibilities in the lives we touch. And in this community, we're proud to serve.
If you seek a loan to purchase a home, are a first-time home buyer taking the first steps towards making your homeownership dreams come true, or are looking to refinance your current residence, we are here every step of the way and will help make choosing the right mortgage loan simple.
First National Bank. We're big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Pecans are a big deal here in Chaves County. We have some of the biggest orchards in the country, and lots of us have pecan trees in our yards. Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. Whether you have one pecan tree or 1,000 of them, this time of year, every pecan tree needs fertilizing. So come see us at Roswell Seed Company, and we'll get you fixed up with the right fertilizer for your pecan trees, so that next year, your nuts will be big and beautiful. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Every spring, Southeast New Mexico College will be offering condensed 8-week classes for their students. Registration has begun for those second 8-week classes, which will begin on March 20th. To see the classes being offered, go to senmc.edu, helping you reach your education goals, one class at a time. Southeast New Mexico College, now registering for second 8-week class to begin March 20th.
Find your direction, Southeast New Mexico College.
Welcome back on Good Morning Artesia. I'm Gene, and Jeffrey's behind the curtain. Don't pay any attention to the man behind the curtain, as that's from a movie, I think. February is Heart Health Month, and our friends at Artesia General Hospital have a special event that will be taking place tonight. And joining us to talk about it is Amanda Ryan and Jennifer Tupper. And I always see all these letters behind the names, and so I'd like to get a little clarification. So, Amanda, D.O., tell us what you do at Artesia General.
Yeah, so I'm an interventional cardiologist, and that means that I put stents in patients that are having a heart attack. It also means that I handle general cardiology, meaning any kind of complaints. It was a 9-year training program after I finished medical school. So my dad, when he was coming to my final graduation, he thought when I was 35, he was like, wow, when I dropped off in kindergarten, I didn't think we'd still be going at this time. And then I went back and got my MBA last year because I needed a little more business knowledge, and, I had missed it in the 10-year gap so without school. Although really we're about constant education. So,
yeah.
And then Jennifer?
You can never stop learning. And then Jennifer, there's a lot of letters behind your name here. DNP, APRN, FNP, BC. And so tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, my function, truthfully, is to be Dr. Ryan's right hand when she's intervening in emergencies that I can help step in. My journey started not as long as Dr. Ryan's. I actually came out of nursing school, out of the program in Carlsbad, through New Mexico State, and then continued on. I actually have a doctorate in nursing practice. The rest of those just make me a really fancy nurse with a lot of education in that sense, that allow me to be her right hand and assist with some of the general cardiology with a true interest in heart failure, again, coming from family matters that have kind of pushed me this direction. And it keeps me close to critical care, which is an area I found in healthcare that I truly enjoy.
Good. Did you also spend about 15 years in school, or?
Over the years, yes. With is a combination of at the bedside learning plus true education in school. But
sure. Well, February is Heart Health Month, and certainly heart health and heart issues have been in the news lately. And so I know you want to have this event, Doctor, to just kind of have people come out and ask questions about heart health, and tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're going to be talking about today.
So we're going to partner with Sherry Wells of the American Heart Association, the New Mexico branch, too. And the goal really for all three of us is to discuss different things, symptoms, how they're different in men and women, minorities. That's a focus we have. Jennifer's going to speak on CPR and the importance of that, especially with having a plan at things like sporting events with the stuff that's recently happened. And then Sherry's going to talk about symptoms, I think, as well. There's a lot of focus on early recognition, and I think that's something that we'll focus on. I'm going to talk about non-traditional risk factors a little bit, things like sleep apnea that everyone doesn't realize can contribute to heart disease. So that's another thing.
That's truly amazing. I have noticed at sporting facilities around Artesia, they've added a lot of, what's the name of the machine? The
AEDs.
Yes. Tell us why it's important for those items to be at these athletic facilities now.
it really becomes important. I mean, and that's part of Sherry and the American Heart's push. Their new program, especially if you're really familiar with sports, Damar Hamlin, which some of what my talk will focus on surrounding his incident. That's where you really see that shine. AEDs become important because it allows those laypersons, the general public, to be able to aid in sudden cardiac arrest, where generally outside of the hospital, those events are not successful, unfortunately. And this gives time and allows lay people to really take an active role and to provide some assistance to those in need.
So let's talk about some of the symptoms, because I think some people are affected by different things differently. They may think it's heartburn. They may think it's not necessarily related to a heart issue. So why don't you talk a little bit, who wants to take
I'll take that one.
Okay.
Shortness of breath is a major complaint in women in particular, although it can be men. The classic crushing chest pain does happen occasionally in somebody having a heart attack, but often probably half of women that present and maybe a third of men do not have chest pain as a symptom. It can be excessive sweating, dizziness or lightheadedness, an overwhelming feeling of fatigue. Sometimes it's an impending doom. It's interesting if you ask them, there's like I don't know, I just felt like I might not survive, but I couldn't exactly put my finger on what was going on. And a lot of people focused to me on it's chest pressure, not pain. Like Dr. Ryan, I'm like, so tell me about your chest pain. And I don't have chest pain, Dr. Ryan. I'm like, oh, I thought you did. Right across the center of your chest, and they're like, it's pressure. It's a squeezing heaviness. Often will radiate up to your jaw, down either shoulder, down your arm, or to the middle of your back. Those are some of the symptoms. People are, again, sometimes we focus that it's your left arm. Some people are like, oh, well, I didn't come in because it was my right shoulder, so I didn't think that qualified. And I was like, no, it could go to either shoulder. There's not, it's like we didn't all read the medical textbook. So really, symptoms can vary. But everyone having an acute heart attack, a true emergent cardiac event that I've ever talked to, did recognize that it was not right and they had to get it checked out, but it's how long it took them for that recognition. And then did they act on it quickly enough?
Because I think that's the thing. If you've got some of these symptoms, is that, you run to the hospital immediately, or do you call somebody? I mean, what are some of the, as far as these symptoms, you should do these things?
If those are some of the symptoms you have, that intense, that severe, or frequent, it comes and goes, but it's pretty routine, that's something I would go to. I mean, if you feel safe to drive, okay, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I go ahead and call 911. So you get emergency needs, things that can be done right then and there and quickly in a timely fashion that would support Dr. Ryan or myself in an interventional capacity to be done quickly and rapidly.
Sure. I'm a Apple geek, so you see a lot of, and I know Apple's not the only one that has devices, but how beneficial have these wearables that start to check things like heart rate and so forth, how beneficial have those tools been?
I think there's some use. They've definitely picked up on some atrial fibrillation, which is a rhythm abnormality that can predispose people to strokes. Some people get over-focused on it. And again, the goal isn't to create a nation full of hypochondriacs, but we're a long way from that. A lot of people, honestly, we're much more likely to ignore our symptoms or not recognize them as cardiac. And I always tell patients it's better for us to check it out. Come in and have a provider tell you whether this is something to worry about or something that isn't. And then identify those things that are like make an appointment with your physician versus the things that are like call 911. We have excellent EMS in Eddy County. They're very qualified. And even people say, well, I could get there faster. My family could take me. Why do I want to call and wait? And I'm like, because if you have a true arrest on the way, what is your family member are you going to do about it compared to the resources that EMS has available? Number one, they have access to send to my cell phone all EKGs so we can see how emergent something is on an EKG. They can identify if you're in a particularly dangerous rhythm. If you're having 100% blockage, it can be identified on a very simple $10 EKG test.
Well, it's amazing. I think the Apple Watch is an ECG.
Same. EK and EC mean the same thing.
Mean the same thing. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. Every so often I'll take mine and just...
Yes.
Okay, that looks all right. Like I know what I'm looking at.
My husband too, and he sends it to me then. So it asks me if it's anything to worry about. I just say no.
That's good.
I
to
hope
know.
He's listening.
Yeah. Well, we'll have it on Facebook later, so we'll make sure that he gets to see it. I know you're going to have time for questions tonight, but that's one of the things that we were talking about before we went on the air is when a patient goes to see a doctor, especially if they're concerned about a heart issue, don't hold back any pertinent information. Whether you think it's pertinent or not, don't hold back any information about your current health, whether it's medications that you're taking, other things that you're ingesting or eating or smoking or whatever. How important is it from the doctor's perspective or from the healthcare's perspective to have every piece of knowledge from the patient?
I think it's tremendous. Again, Dr. Ryan and I, we try to create an environment that is non-judgmental, no matter how or what it may be, but that we get all that information. There are lots of external factors, medications we may use to treat that can interact in a negative way. So to be as open as possible. Again, I'm not here to judge. I want to take the best care and provide the best care I possibly can. To do so, I need all of the knowledge that you can give me from their perspective.
A lot of people have heart failure, basically, or they'll be diagnosed with that, but that's not an immediate death sentence, is it? I mean, treatments have really advanced
significantly over the last 10 years with some of the newest medications coming out probably in the last 20 years. That's been a real big focus. But no, heart failure is not an immediate death sentence. For lack of a better way or a simpler way to explain it, it's just a fancy way of saying your heart's overworked. It's stressed, and it's stressed to the max. And there are things that we can do medicinally, risk factor modification, being a little more active in general, diet-wise, to improve those things. Can we always take it back to where it was and where you started normal function as a spring chicken? No. But we can do our best to augment and hopefully get it better to some degree.
That's good to know. And my mother-in-law was like that. She'd had heart failure for years and had her medication. Of course, she was an older person, so she always had her nitroglycerin or something like that, you know, and I'm thinking, isn't that like an explosive or something?
No, that's a put under your tongue if you have chest pain, and it'll help open up your arteries, kind of improve your blood flow.
Yeah.
It can also lower your blood pressure, so you could pass out, so you have to be careful with it. But sometimes people that have chronic stable heart disease might have some at home to take in certain instances.
Yeah, so that's still prescribed.
Yes, it is.
Today. High blood pressure and heart health, they kind of tied together?
Huge. We call hypertension the silent killer for the exact reason that you can have years of high blood pressure and really feel fine, but it's doing damage to multiple systems. Increases your risk of heart attack, stroke, heart failure, kidney failure, visual problems. All of those things can happen. And often the medications, they do have side effects. You know, often people come to Jennifer and I with that, well, my doctor can't get my meds right for my blood pressure, so I came to you. It's great to be trusted by people in that instance and be thought of as experts, and we are, but I'm very clear with people that there's no magic to blood pressure management. It really is about trying different things to see what you can tolerate to get you to a reasonable goal of your blood pressure, and you can still have a decent quality of life. Unfortunately, a lot of patients give up before they get to that point. If your blood pressure's been running 200 over 100, I tell patients to get you down to a normal, quote unquote, blood pressure, which would be in like the 135, 140 as a max over 80, 85, could take 4 to 5 medications. So figuring that out, you know, patients want to take 1 or 2 medications and then say this didn't work, or I didn't feel good, or it didn't, you know, it just doesn't work for me. And their body is so used to that very elevated blood pressure at that point. And then we try to bring their pressure down. They often don't feel good. They feel fatigued and washed out. And I just encourage people to take their time. You know, this is a process of learning to control your blood pressure. So, and it's a shout out for diabetes as well. It's truly epidemic in the southeast New Mexico region. I trained and came from mostly Florida and the Midwest, and I was a little bit shocked when I first got out here 8 years ago that, first of all, many of the heart attack patients I did in the first several months I was getting my program going were between 35 and 45 years old. Almost all of them had diabetes, and many of them were not obese. The areas I trained in before and worked, the patients were mostly obese that had diabetes. But here it's a lot of genetic predisposition combined with a diet that's full of rice, beans, and tortillas that people don't realize excess starch is actually stored as sugar. And so they're often getting a lot more sugar than than they need, and they have a genetic predisposition to be diabetic. And it's such a risk factor for heart stuff at this point, and with Jennifer's special interest in heart failure, it's considered stage A heart failure just to have diabetes
Wow.
without any cardiac symptoms even.
Right. So, and there's not a magic pill or a set of pills that one can take and all of a sudden they're better. I mean, there's also some work that has to be done by the individual patient themselves,
yes,
too.
That's the other half. Medicines only take you so far. You've got to be willing to do the other half, diet, exercise, and exercise comes in many forms. That doesn't mean, I often tell my patients I don't run. That is the truth. 1, I can't. It hurts to run. But 2, I mean, I found a way. I love riding a bike. exercise comes in many forms, but they've got to be willing to do the other half. I can do so much. They've got to pick it up from there.
Yeah, it's not like in the movies or the sci-fi thing, where they just wave a wand over you and, hey, look, you're all better now. It takes some work. Speaking of the diet and that aspect, I know the event's going to be at the Green Chili Cafe, which means food. I take it you're going to have some heart-healthy food items?
Yes.
Definitely be heart-healthy food there tonight. Which we get asked several times a day, what is the best way to eat? Especially after a cardiac event, patients tend to ask then in that secondary prevention realm, what should I absolutely not eat, Dr. Ryan? And I'm like, we just have to... It's about moderation. There's no one specific, but a plant-based diet that is full of fruits and vegetables combined with lean meats is really the best way to eat. We've given so many different recommendations over the years, and I do not recommend anything that is so restrictive that the problem with those is they work. People tend to lose weight. But again, let's take Atkins. I'm not just picking on any one diet, but it is often effective for weight loss for most people, but it raises people's cholesterol quite a bit. And again, they're like, no, I can't, apples, bananas, we get caught up in this glycemic index of certain things and stuff. And if you're diabetic, a little bit different, but I try to tell people, I don't know about you, but I didn't gain weight eating apples and bananas, realistically. I mean, I think it's also about your portion control. I mean, you can eat a diet that isn't quote unquote perfect if you portion control. Some of it is as simple as calories in, calories out. You got to increase your activity level. And we also get told every day, I can't exercise. I'm like, well, Jennifer and I both have right ankle. We're bonded in a right ankle trauma previously. So but there is, most people can do some kind of activity.
Yeah, just getting out and walking.
Yeah, walking is the best thing. Some people can't walk because of orthopedic reasons. Okay, then you can ride a stationary bike. Okay, let's say some people are like, oh, my knees, I can't do this, I can't do that, my back. Okay, well, you can do light weights with your upper extremities while sitting on the couch even. I was talking to a patient about this the other day, a post-stroke patient. And then it was like, well, I don't have any of those free weights and finances are an issue. And I'm like, great, you can open your kitchen cabinet, grab a couple soup cans.
Well, yeah.
And you can start utilizing those to build your upper body strength. I mean, the truth is, I have a very few amount of patients that I have treated over the last 20 years that can't do some form of exercise. You can walk in water. People are like, I don't swim. Okay, you can walk in the water, literally. Gravity takes away a lot of those orthopedic issues that people may be dealing with. So we have pools available both in Carlsbad and Artesia. Yes, you have to it's a little bit of an inconvenience sometimes, but you just have to focus on your health. You have to make it matter.
Sure.
You have to make it a priority. And we can't do that for you. We can come up with a plan for you and you can adhere to the plan. We try to use the word adherence, not compliance. Kind of shifted from that doctor tells you exactly what to do, God complex from physicians, and to more of a, let's you and I come up with a plan together and then you adhere to the plan as best you can, and I'll see you in a few months and we'll see how well it's going.
Yeah. I know the senior center for the older folks, the senior center has a great workout area now. They've made some major upgrades there, and that's another wonderful place to go if you can't afford to have those things yourself.
Definitely. And the interaction, the social interaction is often good for the patients as well. So I know a lot of times in my life I've done a lot better with my exercise regimen when I met people to do it or we had a specific plan.
Yeah, well, or you want to show off,
I don't know if I was ever there, but yeah, I definitely do.
So is there any cost to attend the program tonight?
No cost.
No cost.
It's something that we believe firmly in, empowering and educating our communities.
So, go ahead.
And we've had a lot of events this month throughout. We've done events from Carlsbad to Hobbs to Artesia and Roswell, which is a little crazy with our schedule, but Heart Health Month is very important to us, and we're willing to really go above and beyond for awareness. That's our goal.
So it starts at 5:30 today at the Green Chili Cafe at Artesia General Hospital. Dr. Ryan will be there talking about cardiology. So are you nurse or what's your title?
Well, I'm a nurse practitioner.
Nurse practitioner. Jennifer Tupper will be there. And then Miss Sherry Wells from the American Heart Association New Mexico chapter will be there. And you're going to leave lots of time for questions. and make yourself available, I'm sure, afterwards, because a lot of times people don't want to ask a question in front of a bunch of other people, so hopefully you'll have some one-on-one time available as well.
Yes. Definitely.
Excellent. Is there anything else we need to mention, or did we cover everything?
No, I think we did a good job. Yeah.
I think you did
you
too.
did a good job.
Well, I try. I don't always succeed, but every so often, we hit it out of the park. So, well, thanks so much for being with us. Hope you have a nice turnout today. And just folks, if you have questions about heart health, it's Heart Health Month at Artesia General Hospital, and there are folks there to answer your questions and help you out. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to take a break, see what else is happening around town, and be right back.
Your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A new audit report of Eddy County's finances shows continued growth in 2022. In fact, the report shows consistent growth over the past 5 years. The firm Carr, Riggs, and Ingram studied Eddy County's finances and found no negative results. The report shows Eddy County's cash balance went up by more than $70 million from June of 2021 to June of 2022, mainly due to gross tax receipt increases in the oil and gas industry. A panel of New Mexico House lawmakers are endorsing a $1 billion increase in the annual state general fund spending to raise public salaries, shore up rural health care networks, and expand no-pay daycare and college. The increase would tap into a financial windfall linked to robust local oil and natural gas production. The budget plan for the coming fiscal year also responds to an eventual economic transition away from fossil fuels in the nation's number 2 state for oil production by investing up to $850 million in a trust to generate earnings and sustain public services in the future. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
What's in a name, a reputation to bring you service and quality? What's in a name?
At Lowell's Pharmacy, we're ready with your flu shot. Flu shots prevent millions of illnesses and flu-related doctor's visits every year. Getting the flu shot has been shown to reduce the risk of having to go to the doctor with flu by 40 to 60%. So take time to visit Lowell's Pharmacy in Artesia and get your flu shot.
It's time for the Eddy County Sports Report. State Wrestling Championships begin tomorrow in Rio Rancho, and we've got several Carlsbad and Artesia wrestlers. Remember, this is Artesia's first year that we're going to keep an eye on. For instance, for Carlsbad's boys at 114 pounds, Marcus Nahara, a senior, is 32-7. Luke Waters from Carlsbad is 31-9 on the season. He's a senior. He'll be wrestling at 152. For the Carlsbad girls, how about Rosalia Rubio, a junior? She's at 114. She's 23-2 on the season. And Nera Miranda, ninth grader from Carlsbad, at 126. She's 21-4. From Artesia, let's keep an eye on Zane Skinner at 152. He's a senior, 25-9 on the season. And Mateo Ramirez from Artesia, a junior, at 160. He's 30-10. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at KSVP Radio AM 990.
The 4 biggest networks and your local television stations are in a state of panic. Can you guess why? I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by T-Mobile. Their advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. It's a historic first. Local TV station viewers are leaving. In 2023, more Americans are watching streaming television programs than whatever ABC, CBS, Fox, or NBC can offer. In the language of TV programmers, traditional TV is now called linear TV, meaning you watch whatever's on, when it's on, and then it's gone. But you can stream a program anytime. YouTube and Netflix are literally neck and neck. NFL Sunday Ticket is now moving to YouTube. Viewers already think that streaming programs are better, which leads to even more viewers leaving traditional programming, which leads to lower program budgets and poorer shows and even fewer viewers. Sound like a tech pro even if you aren't one. The easy way. Be sure to get my longer daily podcast. It's called Kim Commando Today. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. Add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates worth interviewing. Did you know every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim. That's linkedin.com/Kim to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. The address again, linkedin.com/Kim, linkedin.com/Kim.
Turpinning & Son Mortuary of Artesia presents a listing of today's obituaries. We do not have any obituaries to share with you today. This listing has been presented as a service of Turpinning & Son Mortuary of Artesia, where we make it personal. We have a personally written, recorded, and produced weather forecast just for you, Steve.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have cool high pressure moving back into eastern New Mexico today, 40 to 45 on our afternoon highs, and we should get sunshine and fairly light wind. Overnight it'll be clear and cold. We'll drop into the upper teens, and then we start warming up a little bit on Friday, sunshine and close to 50. By Saturday, we're back to the low 60s, upper 60s on Sunday and Sunday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Well, thank you very much, Steve-O. Appreciate that forecast just for me. Right now, we're starting to warm up a bit, although it's going to be rather chilly today. It's sunny and 22 right now in Artesia. Our humidity is 65%. The dew point is 12. We have winds out of the north-northwest at 7 with gusts to 12 miles per hour this morning. Our pressure is at 30.37 and rising. Our air quality is 48, which is good. You pour all of that into a pot, you stir it up, bring it to a boil, let it simmer, and it tells you that your feels like temperature is 14. So it's 22 air temp, but it feels like it's 14 out there. Sunset will be at 5:43, sunrise at 6:38. Yesterday, we had a high of 59 and an overnight low of 20. 1 year ago, we had a high of 77 and a low of 22. Around the region, sunny and 25 in Carlsbad, 21 in Roswell, 20 in Hobbs. Around New Mexico, there's a lot of sunshine out there. 19 in Albuquerque, 11 in Santa Fe, 12 in Cloudcroft and Ruidoso, 27 in Las Cruces, 5 in Farmington, 0 at Red River. There is an absence of temperature. There is no temperature in Red River. That's what that feels like. 15 in Clovis, windy and 20 in Lubbock. Partly cloudy and 31 in El Paso. And again, here in Artesia, we've got sunny skies, 22 degrees. Let's see what news is affecting the markets on the Wall Street Business Report.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Wall Street was mixed on Wednesday after stronger than expected retail sales data offered evidence of resilience in the U.S. economy, while also fueling expectations of more interest rate hikes by the Federal Reserve in the months to come. U.S. retail sales increased by the most in nearly 2 years in January after 2 straight monthly declines as Americans boosted purchases of motor vehicles and other goods, pointing to the economy's continued resilience despite higher borrowing costs. The Congressional Budget Office said Wednesday that it expects the U.S. economy to stagnate this year, with the unemployment rate jumping to 5.1% and a 10-year projection that the publicly held U.S. debt would nearly double to $46.4 trillion in 2033. Kraft Heinz said on Wednesday it would hold further price hikes for its quick-fix meals and condiments as consumers continued to deal with high inflation. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
This is the owner of Trustmark Roofing, and nothing makes us happier than telling our customers no. As in, no pricing games. We give you a guaranteed price, and then we stand by it. No surprises, no gotchas. No obscurity. We don't just tell you what's wrong with your roof. We record our inspections and show you. No lemons. We install premium roofing materials from top brands like Owens Corning. No shortcuts. We're in the 2% of roofers with the Owens Corning Preferred Contractor Certificate for our local area. This means we offer precision installation and the longest warranties. Want a beautiful new roof that's built to last? Choose Trustmark Roofing, the roofer that loves to tell our customers no. For an estimate, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
In New Mexico, the leading cause of death is heart disease, but it is preventable. This Heart Health Month, celebrate with Artesia General Hospital at a special presentation from the cardiology specialist at Advanced Heart and Vascular Center of New Mexico. They'll be joined by special guest Sherry Wells, Executive Director of the American Heart Association. Join us on Thursday, February 16th at 5:30 p.m. in the Green Chili Cafe. For more information, please visit Artesia General Hospital's Facebook page. One beat at a time, we're here for every heart.
Welcome to Answers with Ken Ham, presented by the Coalition of Christians for Biblical Creation and Brannon Financial Group of Artesia. CCBC is an interdenominational coalition of Christians from Artesia who believe that the account of origins presented in Genesis is a simple but factual presentation of actual events and provides a reliable basis for man's worldview and a framework for scientific investigation into the question of the origin and history of life. For more information, visit our website at www.greenhaw.com/ccbc.htm. Answers with Ken Ham is brought to you in part by Brannon Financial Group. Now, today's program presented by Brannon Financial Group of Artesia.
3 women, the mothers of us all. This is Ken Ham, CEO of the Ministry of Answers in Genesis and Creation Museum. In your cells is a special kind of DNA called mitochondrial DNA. Now, unlike regular or nuclear DNA, this DNA only comes from mom. Like nuclear DNA, this DNA mutates. Now, if evolution's true, there should be major differences between people and hundreds of mutations, but we don't find that. It gets even more interesting. Scientists can trace anyone's mitochondrial DNA back to one of 3 major genetic groupings. 3 women being the mothers of us all might sound familiar to those who know their Bibles. Noah's 3 daughters-in-law are the great-great-great-great-grandmothers of us all.
Find exciting evidence that confirms the truth of God's Word from the very first verse when you go to AnswersRadio.com and subscribe for free daily insights at AnswersRadio.com.
Back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show, and coming up in the next hour, we're going to have our Lois Oliver show. Bugs. We're going to talk bugs. So that'll be fun. I haven't really mentioned anything on the radio about this, but I will. Let me think how to do this. Friday night, we were streaming a high school basketball game in Roswell between the Roswell Coyotes boys basketball team and the Carlsbad Cave people. And no love lost between those two teams. It's a big rivalry. It's a district game. And at the end of the game, Roswell High was down by 3 points. They wanted to get the ball back for a last-second desperation shot. And the Carlsbad player apparently didn't appreciate the way with which the Roswell player was attempting to get the ball back for this last-second desperation shot. And needless to say, as the game time expired, it resulted in an incident in which players and fans came out of the stands, players came onto the court, and there was quite a bit of activity on the court at the conclusion of the game. Law enforcement had to come in and take action against some of the fans and the players. The ordeal spilled out into the hallway outside the gym that accesses the locker rooms, and from what I was told, the NMAA had to come in and take some action against the schools. as a result of that incident. So last Tuesday night, the Hobbs Eagles were hosting the boys from Roswell, and Clovis was hosting the boys from Carlsbad. And the NMAA apparently had dictated that those teams could not have fans in the stands for those games. So when Hobbs hosted Roswell boys, there were no Roswell fans in the stands. And when Clovis hosted the Carlsbad boys, there were no Carlsbad fans in the stands. There is a possibility that these two teams could meet in the district tournament next week, and we're being told that if that scenario were to happen, that the NMAA has said there won't be any fans in the stands for that game for either side. And yesterday, the New Mexico Activities Association announced that they're going to be presenting to their board, or they presented to their board this week, a 2 strikes and you're out plan. They're going to vote on it in June and see whether or not they want to implement it and pass it and implement it for the next school year. And basically, from what I've read and what I understand in the stories that I've read, if a coach, if a player, if a fan receives 2 strikes for bad behavior against officials, I think that's what they were initially looking to implement it for, is fan behavior against officials. But it could be expanded to include incidents like we saw at the Roswell High Gym on Friday night. If that individual receives 2 strikes, they will be banned from participation in NMAA-sanctioned activities in the state of New Mexico. So later this morning, Mike Winters up in Roswell is going to have a chance to talk with Sally Marcus, who is the executive director of the New Mexico Activities Association, and we will have access to that interview, and we're going to play that interview tomorrow here on KSVP. So you may be wondering why, because as word got out that this thing talked about and why people wanted to find out more about it, I saw it. I was watching it, and I saw it when it happened Friday night. I had 3 different games that I was monitoring at home, and that was one of the games I was monitoring, and I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I thought it was very embarrassing for the schools that were involved, and it is embarrassing for the fans that felt it necessary to be so angry with how a game ended that they would feel the need to go onto the court to confront fans or officials or coaches or players from the other team. It was really. I've talked to some Roswell folks. They're frankly embarrassed. They don't teach that. That's not what they encourage. That's not how the game is supposed to be played. The NMAA for years has had their compete with class program that they've attempted to do, but it seems like there's a lot of angry people that go to games that don't seem to be able to control their anger. We can be upset at a call. We can be upset at the outcome of a game. We can be angry with the players. We can be angry with the coaches, but you can't take that out onto the court. You can't take that out in the form of verbal or physical violence or abuse or anything like that. And so what we did, I don't know if it's still up there, if people can find it or see it, but I took it down. I did not want, somebody said to me, well, that could be one of your most popular videos ever. That's not what our goal is when we're wanting to have our videos be popular. We don't want a video of this type of activity taking place after a high school game that we're covering. We don't want that to be the viral video. The 3-point shot that wins the game, that's the viral video that you want to have. The walk-off home run that wins the game, the kickoff return for a touchdown that wins the game. That's the viral video that you want to have in celebration of our high school athletes in sports, not idiots running out onto the court and being idiots and requiring cops to handcuff you and escort you out of the facility and all that other kind of stuff, like what took place in Roswell on Friday night. So Mike's going to interview Sally. Sally's the executive director of the NMAA. They've talked about this 2 strikes policy that they've discussed at their recent board meetings that they'll probably vote on in June. And we'll discuss what the ramifications of this will be for fans and athletes and coaches if this indeed does get passed by the NMAA board and implemented for next school year. So we'll squeeze that into our schedule tomorrow, the interview with Sally Marcus from the NMAA. This is KSVP Artesia, K229AS Artesia. It's 8 o'clock in time for news.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Far from being tamed, inflation continues to rage. Wholesale prices surging 6% in January from 1 year earlier. On a monthly basis, December to January, the government's producer price index jumped 0.7%. That increase fueled in part by a 5% surge in energy prices. It was standing room only in the town where a toxic train derailed almost 2 weeks ago.
Last night, residents of East Palestine, Ohio, and nearby communities packed a school gym, hoping to get answers about whether they're safe from toxic chemicals that spilled or were burned off. Kathy Dyke lives in nearby Negley.
This is so much bigger than just it in the water. Our environment, our wildlife animals, our farmers that have to till their soil.
New Waterford resident Danielle Deal says so far she has not been happy with the answers she's getting.
It was just a big runaround.
I'm Donna Warder.
Reports that President Biden may soon address the nation about the recent spate of UFO shootdowns. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing the president for signing last year's federal government funding package.
In the lawsuit, Paxton argues that the bill was illegally passed by Congress because he says the U.S. House requires most of its members to be present to pass legislation. In this instance, the majority of the House members voted for the bill by proxy. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had allowed members to vote by proxy as a pandemic measure, but the pandemic was over when this vote was held. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has eliminated vote by proxy. Tasha Stevens reporting.
Shooting yesterday afternoon at a shopping mall in El Paso, Texas. 1 person killed, 3 others wounded. Police in El Paso say they have 2 people in custody. On Wall Street right now, the Dow down 374 points. The NASDAQ is off 148. More on these stories at townhall.com.
From the creators of I Can Only Imagine comes Jesus Revolution.
If you look a little deeper, if you look with love, you'll see an entire generation searching for all the right things, just in all the wrong places.
Based on a true revolution.
You're going to need a bigger church.
Jesus Revolution. Rated PG-13. Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13. See it early February 22nd. In theaters everywhere beginning February 24th. Go to JesusRevolution.movie.
Every day we hear news about violent assaults, carjackings, and other acts of crime spiraling across the United States. Washington's answer is to confiscate your guns, but a new book from Regnery offers hope for a better solution. Professional firearms instructor and veteran gun store owner Larry Correa's new book, In Defense of the Second Amendment, pulls back the curtain on Washington's gun-grabbing agenda and how you can protect your rights as well as your family. Yet, In Defense of the Second Amendment, new from Regnery, available at Amazon.com.
Not waiting for spring to launch a new offensive, Russia stepping up its attacks on Ukraine.
Ukrainian officials say Russia has again pummeled the country with a barrage of missiles, firing a combination of 36 cruise and other missiles and losing at least 16 of them to Ukrainian air defense batteries. The head of Ukraine's presidential office says targets had been hit in the country's north, west and south. A local governor said a 79-year-old woman was killed and at least 7 other people wounded when missiles hit the eastern city of Pavlograd. In western Ukraine, a regional governor says a fire broke out at a critical infrastructure facility in the province of Lviv. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Israel's Foreign Minister Eli Cohen has arrived in Kiev today, the first public visit to Ukraine's capital by a senior Israeli official since Russia's invasion last year. News and analysis, townhall.com. A tragedy in Alabama.
The Tennessee National Guard says that one of their Black Hawk helicopters has crashed in Alabama, killing 2 crew members. They were members of the Tennessee National Guard and were killed during a training mission. The helicopter crashed and caught fire. The crash occurred in the unincorporated community of Harvest along Alabama Highway 53. Harvest is just northwest of Huntsville, Alabama, home to NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center and the U.S. Army's Redstone Arsenal. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
China imposing trade and investment sanctions on U.S. military contractors Lockheed Martin and Raytheon for supplying weapons to Taiwan, which China claims as its own. The Ministry of Commerce says companies are barred from importing goods into China or making new investments in the country. The United States already bars most sales of military-related technology to China. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I know what you're expecting to hear right now, the announcement of today's KSVIP. Well, I don't have a name for today, and I need your help. If you know someone who needs to be recognized for being a very special person, call right now, 746-2751. Ask for Tana and schedule a KSVIP. Your special someone will be recognized at this time all day long on their day, and they'll receive a flower courtesy of Lovebud Floral in Artesia. So call today and schedule your KSVIP.
Mowing my front lawn. I know they're all thinking I'm so wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Can't you see I'm wide and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters, but so far they all think I'm too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. I'm just too wide and nerdy. Really wide and nerdy.
Hey, welcome back to the Good Morning Artesia radio show with pictures. Hour number 2, the 8 o'clock hour is about to get underway, and coming up on the show this hour, we'll have our Lois Oliver Real Estate Show, and we'll chat with Carol at the Artesia Senior Center, see what's happening there. I know they've got their low-income tax rebate assistance going on today, along with some other activities and all that other good stuff. So we'll talk about that later this hour. Next hour, in the 9 o'clock hour, I told Jeffrey I've got a list here that he and I may want to discuss. It happens to be the EEB Language Project has published a list of harmful terminology in science. Harmful terminology in science. And so these are a list of words that these scientists want to ban because they are harmful. And so we'll run that list past Jeffrey to see if it's harmful to Jeffrey. Because if it's harmful to Jeffrey, then it could be harmful to the general population, and we may want to reconsider using some of these terms in science. So we'll have that in the 9 o'clock hour. Michael Rebman from the Artesia Historical Museum and Art Center will share with us some more information. The last couple of weeks we've been talking about the history of political parties prior to and immediately following the Civil War. And the Whig Party, and it disappeared, and the Republican Party took off, and the Democrats have always been there, and all that other good stuff. So we've got that coming up on the show in the 9 o'clock hour. We don't have any high school sports or basketball games on the radio tonight. Tomorrow, we're going to have announcers and cameras in a couple of locations. We'll be at the Pit in Artesia for Artesia versus Goddard basketball. Joby and Robbie, Jeffrey and his crew will be there for radio and TV coverage starting around 5:15 tomorrow. And then in Roswell, the Roswell High girls basketball team is hosting the Clovis girls basketball team, and so we'll have that on the TV tomorrow with Art and Kelly. And then next week we'll be getting ready for district tournament basketball. Remember, we cover Artesia Bulldogs, boys and girls. We cover the Goddard Rockets, boys and girls. We cover the Roswell Coyotes, boys and girls. And so both of those districts, Artesia and Goddard in the same district, Roswell High in 4-5A, I think it is. And they all do the ladder tournament, meaning the number 4 seeded team goes to the number 3 seeded team on Tuesday. The winner goes to the number 2 seeded team on Thursday, and the winner goes to the number 1 seeded team on Friday for the district tournament championship. And so we'll be following Artesia. Of course, Artesia won the district. They'll be officially crowned as district champs after the games tomorrow. But Artesia is the district champ, so they sit back. They're going to host the district tournament championships. I think, I need to find out for sure. I think they're next Friday, both the boys and the girls. But I'll get confirmation on that today. And then for Roswell High and for Goddard High, both of them are probably going to be a 3 or 4 seed in both their boys and girls programs, so they'll be on the road, maybe at home. I think the Roswell High Coyotes boys basketball team gets a home game if they beat Clovis by 3 points or more tomorrow night. If they win by 3 or more, then they will host Clovis. If they win by less than 3 or lose, then they will go to Clovis on Tuesday. And I think, according to Art, most likely the Roswell girls will go to Clovis on Tuesday for their first round game in the district tournament in that district. Of course, in our district, Portales and Lovington and Goddard, they're all fighting for that number 2, number 3, and number 4 slot. And depending on the outcome of tomorrow night's games will determine if it's, if Portales and Lovington are 2 and 3, if Lovington and Goddard are 3 and 4, and who goes where and all that kind of stuff next week. But our goal is to get that all covered for you next week ahead of the state tournament that starts the week after that. And then we're just a couple of weeks away from baseball and softball getting started around the region. Hey, let's take a look at our weather forecast. I don't think it's going to be as windy, but it won't be as warm. It's going to be a little chilly today, Steve.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have cool high pressure moving back into eastern New Mexico today, 40 to 45 on our afternoon highs, and we should get sunshine and fairly light wind. Overnight will be clear and cold. We'll drop into the upper teens, and then we start warming up a little bit on Friday, sunshine and close to 50. By Saturday, we're back to the low 60s, upper 60s on Sunday, and sunny. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Sunshine, 24 in Artesia at this hour. Humidity at 60%. The dew point is 12. Our winds currently are out of the north at 7 with gusts to 12 miles per hour. Our pressure at 30.37. Our air quality is 48, so we have good air quality. When you put all of that in a bag and beat it with a hammer and then pour it out on the table, it gives you a feels-like temperature of 16. The high yesterday was 59, the overnight low 20. 1 year ago, we had a high of 77 and a low of 22. The sunset will be at 5:43, sunrise at 6:38. Around the region, it's sunny, 27 in Carlsbad, 22 in Roswell and Hobbs. Around New Mexico, there's a lot of sunshine out there, 20 in Albuquerque, 13 in Santa Fe, 14 in Cloudcroft and Ruidoso, 28 in Las Cruces, 5 in Farmington. They're up to 2 at Red River. 16 in Clovis, and in West Texas, it's windy, and 22 in Lubbock, and cloudy, maybe some flurries in the air, 32 in El Paso. And again, here in Artesia, we've got sunshine, 24 degrees. When we come back, the Lois Oliver Show on KSVP.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keon at Carabelli Dental. Same-day smiles are what we do. My passion is helping patients chew, talk, and live with confidence. That's why I'm one of the few doctors in the U.S. who can create beautiful same-day smiles with the latest digital implant technology. This procedure is life-changing. Just ask Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I've been that voice that you've heard on the radio for most of my life, but I'm also a dad to 2 amazing kids. I've had a million reasons to smile, but in all my old pictures, I was never smiling. Truth is that life of improper care and being dealt a bad hand genetically left me practically with no teeth. It affected everything from the way I ate, the way I talked, and of course how I interacted with people. And that's where Dr. Keon and Carabelli stepped in. They eased my fears. They explained every step of the process in a way that I could understand, and they made me feel almost like I was part of the team. And now I can't stop smiling. I have so much more confidence, and I love looking in the mirror now. I can't explain how much of a difference Dr. Keon's dental implant process made for me.
Our team can help you find your smile too. Come see us at Carabelli Dental, 575-622-4455.
Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward and Son Insurance Agency. Auto and home, life and health, personal and commercial. Bonds too, since 1925. We have the coverage for you. Innovation, service, integrity, and knowledge. J.S. Ward and Son Insurance Agency.
In volatile times, it's natural to worry about your retirement.
Hon, I'm worried about our retirement account.
With today's economy, it just makes sense to keep your retirement money close to home with people you know. We have several guaranteed safe options. Peace of mind with retirement savings. It just makes sense. Western Bank of Artesia. Member FDIC. It just makes sense.
Edge Safety and Services LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screen. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 402 West Main Street inside the Edge Safety and Services facility. Edge Safety and Services LLC is an equal opportunity employer.
At Guy Chevrolet Company in Artesia, we understand the demands of everyday life, from work to school and all the activities in between. When you're on the go, you need the right transportation at the right time, and we can help. Let our professional sales team assist you in finding the right truck or SUV to handle your daily needs. From hauling kids to hauling equipment, we have the right Chevy, Buick, or GMC to make your life easier. We're here and ready to help today at Guy Chevrolet Company on the corner of 1st and Main in Artesia or at guychevy.com.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past 2 years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage is only $75 per month, level for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can buy $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rates for 20 years. And if you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At the Term Lifeline, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. So if you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call right now for a free quote.
Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes are based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting exam required to qualify.
800-430-1309. 800-430-1309. 800-430-1309. That's
I don't know. I get nervous every time I see people. Welcome back. Good morning, Artesia. And it's our Thursday, February 16th segment, the Lois Oliver Show. And joining us from Lois Oliver Real Estate is Donna Clark. Good morning, Donna.
Good morning. How are you today?
You know, we were just talking about that, and I try not to know. And that way I hopefully am ready for whatever...
whatever's thrown at you that day?
Happens, yeah. Somebody will say, hey, we need to make an appointment. I'll say, I can't make appointments. Things always break or blow up or go crazy whenever it's time to be in an appointment. One of the things we wanted to talk about today, bugs. and specifically inspections that you have to do when you're getting ready to buy a house or sell a house. And who did you bring with you today?
Dan with Ladies Leela-Bug. Leela's Ladybug.
You don't have to call me anything, just call me.
Now, I got a text. I said it was Paul. Is it not Paul?
Paul Daniel. Go by my middle name, Dan.
Dan. Okay. Well, see, I wrote down Paul.
No, you're good.
And then she said Dan.
It was one of my greatest marketing tricks as my wife would tell customers that Dan will be out tomorrow, and they knew me as Paul, and they would say, no, we don't want Paul. We want Dan. And she would laugh. And when I went out there, then everybody remembered both of my names. So how do you ever achieve that?
That's right. And it's Lila's Ladybugs. So correct. I think we got it squared away.
Yeah, I hope so.
So when somebody's getting ready to list a house or buy a house, one of the required things is the pest inspection, right?
Yes. All lenders, if you're going through the lender, will require termite inspection. And so we call Dan, and he sets it up and goes out, and then he can tell you about what he does, and then we get the report, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not so good.
Yeah.
But
so is it, Dan, is it specifically a termite inspection, or are you looking for anything else?
There are actually 4 major insects that are in the inspections. In this area, it's primarily termites, but there are carpenter ants, carpenter bees, termites, and they call them reinfesting beetles, powder post beetles. We rarely see those here. On a very rare occasion, maybe 2 or 3 times in the last 4 years, we've had powder post beetles. But termites here are quite prevalent. People are surprised a lot of times when I'm doing inspections, and I tell them that like Roswell in particular is almost 1 out of 2 homes that sell get treated.
They get treated?
And it's probably not far behind that here and in Carlsbad. And I've heard, we're just starting out in Hobbs, but I've heard that Hobbs is pretty prevalent also. So there are a lot of problems. It's worth getting it checked. I always tell people it's not insurmountable. It's usually under $1,000 to get a treatment. We cover it for a full 10 years, and then we know now the product lasts for 20 years. So it's not something to worry about for very long once it's treated and taken care of. It's resolved generally. I think I've only done about 15 retreats and thousands, literally thousands of treatments that we've done in the last 25 years with the product we use. So we're very, very happy with it.
Are there different kinds of termites around here, or is there just...
Sure, and go back to the education part of it, there are up to 7 kinds of termites that are prominent in this area.
7?
There are really only 2 that we deal with too much. One are the agricultural termites. Those are the ones that get on fences. You can drive down the street and you'll see this big sheet of mud up on a fence or a tree trunk. They don't do a lot of damage, but they are subterranean termites and they can get inside. As a matter of fact, we had a job, it was last summer, I believe, early, or the summer before, maybe after one of the heavy rains. They move a lot when the heavy rain comes. They're usually in lower areas to get moisture, but if the area gets flooded, they move to higher elevations. And this particular house, the termites moved. There were none when we did the inspection, and then we found them in 19 places around the outside a week later after a heavy rain.
After the rains.
And we ended up having to treat it for free because what do?
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't their fault. It wasn't perhaps my fault, but I was the one that was in the position to fix the problem and take care of it. The eastern subterraneans are the ones that do the most damage. They can do quite a substantial amount of damage. I'm fortunate that I've been in different regions. I was in Phoenix, Arizona for 18 years, back in Ohio, northern Ohio by Lake Erie for 25 years, and now here. So my experience allows me to see that this isn't as severe a place as others. So we're very fortunate in that regard.
And so what do they like to, is it all wood, any wood? Is there a specific kind of wood? Is there a specific part of the house that they like to attack?
They like any cellulose product, so any plant product at all. Over the years, I have had some really interesting stories. We had a gentleman, when I was working in Phoenix, he was from England, and he called us about termites in his home, and he made sure to let us know that the termites preferred eating the covers off of his English rock and roll albums more than the American rock and roll.
Especially the Beatles.
I think the Beatles were in that list. We had a customer that collected flowers from all over the world. She had been to the Nile and apparently gotten some rare lily that she had preserved. And the termites crawled up the wall and ate the lily out of the picture frame. So that was quite an expensive, thousands of dollars, not real damage, but they mainly, here we find them a lot in the drywall, the paper on the drywall, and in studs in the walls. I can give you the worst case scenario. A customer that we just did last year down in Carlsbad had one of the older stucco homes, and they literally had to tear the entire back of their house off because the termites had eaten the studs out from in between the stucco. It was the old stucco that was really rigid and firm, and of course it didn't even show up on the inside until they did a repair, and when they found it, they just kept going and going and going, and so they can be severe. It should be treated. People should be concerned and have an inspection done. And I always like to warn people, so to speak, just because we look and say there's no termites just means that we can't see. There are none that can be seen. We can't see behind walls. We can't see in inaccessible areas. So it's not a perfect thing, but in the past 45 years I've been doing this now, rarely do we ever have a serious problem show up after an inspection is done. We catch them when they're a problem, usually.
And Donna, this is required by the lenders. They want the termite inspection. And is it generally the responsibility of the seller, the buyer?
It can go either way. Usually, is like customary, is the seller pays for it. And if there's a treatment, then it can be negotiated, but usually the seller ends up taking care of that as well.
Okay. Are there things that people shouldn't have just lying around the house that is like a, come on in, bugs. We have a meal for you here. Come on in and eat.
Absolutely. We know from studies that there can be up to 7 colonies in any 1 acre. That was something that we learned in Arizona and Phoenix, and I'm sure it's pretty similar here. So termites are constantly coming up out of the ground all over the place looking for food. If you leave wood laying beside your house, then termites, if they come up underneath of it, are going to start eating it. If they find food, then they're going to concentrate more in that area and look around and see what else is there. So that can not draw them in, but it can create a problem that you have to take care of. Probably at least 15% of the houses we treat are because people have left things against their foundation. I had one that was really interesting a while back. We had done an inspection for a cellar. We found termites in the yard. They weren't close enough to recommend a treatment be done. The person that bought the house was a flipper. They rehab the houses and then turn around and sell them. And he left wood up against the foundation, and a year and a half later when he went to sell his house, I went out and found termites in the wood against the foundation, and he was required to do a treatment. And it was very frustrating for him, especially because he knew they were in the yard, but he didn't have to be treated when he bought it. And then when he went to sell it, so we gave him a little bit better deal to try and take away some of the sting from that for him.
Sure. So how big can a termite colony be? How many are we talking about?
In this area, hundreds of thousands of members. In other areas, there can be millions of termites. The Gulf Coast has a termite called a Formosan, and they are uniquely able to have extremely large colonies. It makes them very destructive. In New Orleans, as an example, they lose millions of dollars of trees every year to termites eating their trees, which is hard to conceive of that in an area like this. There aren't enough trees to think about that. But down there, to replace those trees and get them to grow, they're almost impossible to keep up with replacement.
Now, I've heard if you put wood chips, like in your flower beds up next to your house, that can draw them. Is that true?
Not draw, but it gives them something to eat right by the house. So we know they're going everywhere. As a matter of fact, most houses probably have termites underneath of them in the ground because that's just logical. The question is, are they going to stay? Are they going to stay long enough to make themselves evident where you end up having to do a treatment? So mulch in the flower beds would be bad. I've noticed that they don't really like bark as much as they like chips, wood chips. So bark is a better choice, stones are a better choice. There are some studies that have shown that if you keep a 2-foot barrier of nothing, dry soil, just a dry area around the house, that's really beneficial to keep termites. That just doesn't attract them to the area. And of course, moisture here, that's the number one thing. We need our moisture in the desert, and the termites need their moisture in the desert. So sprinkler systems and things like that are all things that can add to creating a problem.
Creating an environment that the termite wants to set. So is it similar to like a bee hive? Is there like a queen and then there's workers and there's stuff like that?
The industry has changed so much in our knowledge. There is at least one queen. Termites, we now know, have the capacity to take they're non-sexual, the workers. They can turn any worker into a queen if something happens to their queen. So they never have a never-ending supply of queens. It's not like they ever really would die off if they're not exterminated. They're just going to keep going and going. Even some of the early studies from years ago with the baiting system were really fascinating. They discovered that the DNA was the same in separate colonies. So they came from the same queen initially, but they got divided because of a storm or a tree root or construction. And so they're related to each other. And when one colony gets exterminated, the other one recognizes the DNA. They may move into the same area that the original one was at.
And generally, what is the function of the termite? Because you think everything on the earth has a function.
And they do. It's very important. If you would imagine the desert with all of the dead debris, cellulose debris in the desert, here, it would never go away. The wind might blow it away, blow it in piles. We saw that just recently, didn't we?
Yeah.
But the fact is that they eat all of that dead cellulose and return it to the soil. I love thinking about this area because I think to myself, this used to be a sea. There was water everywhere on the ground here. And the changes that occur over time are just fascinating to me. Termites are one of those things that are going to take that cellulose back down into the ground, and one day we're going to be growing things here many thousands of years in the future, if Lord willing we last that long, and they'll help change the environment. There'll be a big impact on the environment being changed.
I know with bees there's kind of a concern over a lack of bees or the bee population, but is there any, are there termites on the endangered species?
I do not think so. Although the product we have is really very unique. It's the brand name is called Termidor. There's an off-brand called Taurus, so we use both because they're the same active ingredient. But it's a touch poison. They touch it and become a carrier. Everyone they touch becomes a carrier. Everyone, either one of them touches, dies. And that's why in the last 25 years that we've been using Termidor products, that we just don't have recalls on them because it's that effective. But if you've ever seen a termite swarm, and a swarm is where the flying termites come out of the ground, the future kings and queens, they mate, drop back down to the ground. Literally thousands and thousands of them come out of the ground. So there are hundreds and hundreds of colonies from each colony being produced every spring, or potentially. Now, most of them don't survive because birds love to come around and eat them and all of that, but I don't think termites are ever we'll never run out of termites, like ants. Ants are another one of those things.
Yeah. When's the best time to treat for termites or inspect for termites? I mean, is there a dormant time for the termites, and that's when you might...
Termites are not as active in the wintertime when it's cooler. they're not as active on the soil. But to give you an example, we had a warm up about 2 weeks ago, and I started to see activity on the top of the soil just when it got up to 60 degrees. So this week, I think we're going to hit around 60 again over the next week or so. So any time is fine to look. Usually after we do a treatment, we offer to come back every year and check it just to make sure it's okay. Rarely do people, they just don't see anything, so they just stop calling. But every year, have a check every year. If you're not selling your home, if you don't need papers to go to the bank, we're more than happy just to come out and look for you. The incidence of treatment is high enough that it pays for us to do free inspections in that regard. So if there people are worried, just call me. Call me Leela's Ladybugs or Ladybug Leela
or Lila
or whatever you want to call me. Just call me.
That number.
Dan, Paul.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Or Paul, Danny, Paul, like they used to say back in Phoenix, and make fun of me. And
there you go.
Oh, it was humorous.
Yeah, I think we're going to do a giveaway here in a second. But Donna, before we move on, I think you have a new listing that you wanted us to talk about today.
I do. I have a new one. I've got all the signed paperwork. It's going up today. It's at 910 West Chisholm.
And we're going to show some pictures that were sent over yesterday.
It's a nice all brick, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Got a 14 by 20 storage, brick storage out in the backyard. Privacy fence, fireplace, plenty of room, a little over 1,500 square feet, listed at $208. So
the tile work is kind of interesting. Is that ceramic tile? Is that
it's probably like 24 by 24. Tile work is very shiny. I'm not sure if it's the ceramic. I'm sure it is, but
it's very interesting, very well done.
In there.
Detailed in that. Looks like the kitchen area that extends into a living room or a dining room area.
The living room kitchen is all open. There's another little area off the kitchen that could be used as a great mud room. Put some shelves in there and have you a big pantry, a breakfast nook, office.
Okay.
Nice big backyard. It's got a unique pull-through or wrought iron gate in the front that you can open or close up your vehicles inside, and so newer windows, metal roof. It's ready to go.
Metal roof. There you go. That termites don't like metal roofs.
Termites aren't eating metal yet.
Yeah.
Although I do wonder about petrified wood. I constantly think, do they eat petrified wood?
At one time it was wood, so you wonder if the material, the genetic material, is still there. That's great, and I'm sure it will have or has had a inspection by Dan.
So it will when we get a contract soon.
Mm-hmm.
Then we call and set up the inspections, and the seller pays for the inspections, but the buyer usually still gets to pick who they want to use. So hopefully whoever sells it will call Dan, and we'll get him over there and get it done.
Certainly one option. Now, did I read it here? Did you want to give away
We're going to give away a couple of pest control sprays.
Okay.
We're almost at the season.
Yeah.
People can use them anytime this year. It's free spray inside and outside most homes. If you have a mansion, then I might want to charge you a little bit extra.
Well, to me, it's my mansion. But
yes. We're pretty flexible. Up to a few thousand square feet would be fine. It's not a big deal. Okay. But we'll spray the inside and outside a good general preventative spray. Should last for a month or two. If you have ongoing issues, people that have things like scorpions and recurring problems with ants or things may want to do some kind of regular service, but this would certainly be a good start to the season to take care of the problems. And really, it's courtesy of Lois Clark. So
Lois Oliver,
excuse me.
Paybacks.
Yeah, I did it on purpose.
It was Lewis and Clark who traveled across the Louisiana territory.
Do you think they saw any termites on their travels?
I'm sure they did. They might have been considered eating them if they were hungry enough for it.
They probably would have.
Are they? Because I'm not a bug person, but there's been a lot of talk about how eating crickets and grasshoppers and stuff like that. Have you had a termite stew or something like that?
I've never eaten termites, although they're high in protein, and they convert the wood, the pulp in the wood, to sugars and carbohydrates, or starches. So,
Yeah.
I'm sure it would be a good meal. So we can bring some by and try
I
it.
would have to be extremely
Desperate?
Unless they're chocolate covered.
Chocolate covered. There you go. Well, we just had
I can't
Valentine's
even
Day
do those.
to do that. So, do you want to call here? Call your office?
What we do is we've got two, so we're saying the first two callers to call our office between 9 and 9:30.
Okay. 9 and 9:30. And what's the phone number to call?
575-748-9735.
9735, and you have two
Two of them, yes.
Treatment gift certificates from Dan or Paul or whoever you get to send out.
Or Lois Clark Oliver.
Oh my gosh. I haven't said anything wrong, have I?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
But we're going to review everything.
I am known to make mistakes.
I'm sure that the police that are listening will be giving you a call if you made any errors.
That sounds great. So if you have any questions about 910, where's my listing? My list here. 910 Chisholm, which is the new listing that we shared with you, or any of the other listings, or if you want to inquire about maybe listing a property with.
We'll be happy to help you.
All right. Donna, was there anything else we needed to talk about today?
I think we're good. I appreciate the opportunity to come back again, and I'd like to thank Dan for being here to explain a few things.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Good to have Dan on with us. It's been a while since he's been on the radio before.
Pre-COVID.
That's yeah, I got my COVID beard on, as a matter of fact. So anyway, be ready to call at 9 o'clock because we're going to take the first two people that call in to win the treatments courtesy of Dan and Lila's. Is it Lila's? Leela's. See, I can't even get that right. See?
Well, they're both pronounced both ways. So,
okay.
Like I said, just call me.
All right. And the number to call at Lois Oliver is 575-748-9735.
Correct.
Well, thanks. And again, I'm not eating
termites.
Not even
Not that you know of.
Not well. Now that's a scary thought. Are there other
This
things?
is a whole nother window, but in certain products there can be up to 0.05% of unknown particles and objects.
Oh, I
in
know.
our food.
I know.
So-
I never look at the ingredients of a hot dog.
Oh.
Just enjoy it. All right. Thank you so much, Donna and Dan. Thanks for coming in, and hope to see you again real soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. More on Good Morning Artesia next.
Your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A new audit report of Eddy County's finances shows continued growth in 2022. In fact, the report shows consistent growth over the past 5 years. The firm Carr, Riggs, and Ingram studied Eddy County's finances and found no negative results. The report shows Eddy County's cash balance went up by more than $70 million from June of 2021 to June of 2022, mainly due to gross tax receipt increases in the oil and gas industry. A panel of New Mexico House lawmakers are endorsing a $1 billion increase in the annual state general fund spending to raise public salaries, shore up rural health care networks, and expand no-pay daycare and college. The increase would tap into a financial windfall linked to robust local oil and natural gas production. The budget plan for the coming fiscal year also responds to an eventual economic transition away from fossil fuels in the nation's number 2 state for oil production by investing up to $850 million in a trust to generate earnings and sustain public services in the future. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
This is Jason Espinoza with today's Capitol Report. The official midpoint of the first session of the 56th legislature is Thursday, February 16th. The midpoint of the legislative session also marks the deadline for bill introduction for both the state Senate and the House of Representatives. So far, the House of Representatives have introduced 420 bills, 46 memorials, and 13 constitutional amendments. On the other side, the Senate has introduced 442 bills, 56 memorials, and 11 constitutional amendments. Additionally, the Senate has passed 14 Senate bills over to the House, and the House has passed 13 bills over to the Senate for consideration. Only 3 bills have passed both chambers. The first was House Bill 1, otherwise known as the Feed Bill, which appropriates the funding for the legislative session and staff. The second bill that has passed both chambers is Senate Bill 6, sponsored by Senator Pete Campos, which appropriates $100 million for the purpose of providing zero-interest loans to local governments to replace or repair infrastructure damaged by fire, flooding, or debris flows caused by the Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire. The third and final bill that has passed both chambers at this point is Senate Bill 364, sponsored by Senators Peter Wirth and Greg Baca, which reverses a 2022 State Ethics Commission informal opinion that prohibited a legislator from using legislative letterhead under certain circumstances. For the New Mexico News Network, I'm Jason Espinoza.
It's time for the Eddy County Sports Report. State Wrestling Championships begin tomorrow in Rio Rancho, and we've got several Carlsbad and Artesia wrestlers. Remember, this is Artesia's first year that we're going to keep an eye on. For instance, for Carlsbad's boys at 114 pounds, Marcus Nahara, a senior, is 32-7. Luke Waters from Carlsbad is 31-9 on the season. He's a senior. He'll be wrestling at 152. For the Carlsbad girls, how about Rosalia Rubio, a junior? She's at 114. She's 23-2 on the season. And Nera Miranda, ninth grader from Carlsbad, at 126. She's 21-4. From Artesia, let's keep an eye on Zane Skinner at 152. He's a senior, 25-9 on the season. And Mateo Ramirez from Artesia, a junior, at 160. He's 30-10. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at KSVP Radio AM 990.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Stock futures higher pre-market. Jobless claims forecast up again. DoorDash headlines, earnings reports. Those stories next. Lou Dobbs here for the good folks at Lone Star Transfer. If you felt like booking your timeshare was difficult in the past, you know it's recently been almost impossible. Most clients are shocked to learn their timeshare is now available to the public, severely limiting their booking options. Many owners have also reached out, upset their yearly dues have nearly doubled during this maintenance fee season. For well over a decade, this family-owned company has had the pleasure of helping over 18,000 owners legally and permanently get out of their never-ending timeshare fees. With an A-plus rating at the Better Business Bureau and over 900 five-star testimonials, their clients know they can trust Lone Star Transfer. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability in your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. Call my good friends today for a free no-obligation consultation at 844-284-4739. That's 844-284-4739 or online at LoneStarTransfer.com. Stock futures rising. Cisco jumping 8%, topping quarterly revenue targets. Emergent Biosolutions jumping 10% in extended trading. The FDA recommended Emergent's over-the-counter Narcan spray to reverse opiate overdoses. Initial jobless claims forecast up last week. This after climbing almost 200,000 the previous week, above Wall Street targets. Housing starts forecast to top economist estimates for in January. The National Association of Home Builders reporting home builder confidence up 7 points, the largest monthly increase in a decade. DoorDash reporting today the stock up more than 40%. Fourth quarter earnings are forecast to be slightly lower. Paramount Global stock up 9% ahead of today's quarterly update. Berkshire Hathaway raising its stake in Paramount. Please join me 3 times each weekday right here on this station. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
All right, take a quick break. We have one more guest that we want to have on the radio with us this hour. Don't go away.
This is the owner of Trustmark Roofing, and nothing makes us happier than telling our customers no. As in, no pricing games. We give you a guaranteed price, and then we stand by it. No surprises, no gotchas. No obscurity. We don't just tell you what's wrong with your roof. We record our inspections and show you. No lemons. We install premium roofing materials from top brands like Owens Corning. No shortcuts. We're in the 2% of roofers with the Owens Corning Preferred Contractor Certificate for our local area. This means we offer precision installation and the longest warranties. Want a beautiful new roof that's built to last? Choose Trustmark Roofing, the roofer that loves to tell our customers no. For an estimate, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
No, they don't. 8:49. Welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. And Carol's here from the Senior Center. I didn't know if you'd be able to get away or not today.
Yes, they were all coming in, but I told them I'd be right back. So we got to make this fast, Gene.
All right. So Senior Center, and it's a busy day today.
The busy thing today is the low income tax rebate. I cannot say that enough. We do not do state taxes. We do not do federal taxes. I can't even give you legal advice. I had a gentleman come the other day, wanted me to read something and give him legal advice on it. Guys, I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
I do a lot of hats, but lawyer's not one of them. So remind everybody of what's going on in just a few minutes. They're gearing up in there when I left for low-income tax rebate. So if you qualify, that means $33,000 or less a year. Bring proof of all the money you make. Photo ID, whether it's a driver's license, an ID, whatever it is, any interest you earned, and we'll help you out. If you're over 65, have to be over 65, and you make $16,000 or less, bring your property tax receipts or proof of how much rent you're paying.
Okay.
So, and we'll help you out, and it helps you to get a little bit more money back.
Okay.
So we're working on that to help. Remind everybody that tonight we have dance music by Kay, and then Here on Earth will be here next this Friday tomorrow.
Tomorrow
from 9 to 11. So come show up. He can help you out with hopefully whatever your issues are. When you leave there, you'll be smiling because you can hear the birds chirping. How's that?
You need to hear the birds chirping.
Yes. The other thing is Saturday we will be having a live band dance. County Line will be with us. So come out, do your boot scooting, and enjoy the evening. The 2 more things I want to spend my time talking about this week.
Okay.
Tuesday, we're going to have a ribbon cutting for our new exercise room.
I see that on the calendar.
So
here.
we're asking everybody to come out, help support, and help thank the people that donated the money to us to have this project. And I'd like to say this, and I believe I'm pretty accurate, at least 3 days a week, we have a new person that we haven't seen before.
That comes to try out
To look. Well, I walked in today, and 2 people were standing looking at the window watching everybody, checking it out, and had to call a doctor to make sure that they could do that. But it's a nice setup.
It is.
It is a very nice setup.
Well, we had Dr. Ryan this morning, and they were talking about Heart Health Month, and they were talking about how you just got to get some exercise somehow, somewhere. And I mentioned the fact that you have such a nice new gym at the senior center, so that if you're a senior and you need to get some exercise, that's a good alternative or a good choice.
And that qualifier is 50 years of age or older, and you're welcome to join us. We are open every day, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4, 8 to 5, even through lunch.
Okay.
And Fridays is 8 to 4. But now this Friday, because I have to be at a training, we'll be short-staffed, so we are going to shut down from 11:30 to 12:30 so the staff can have a lunch.
Gotcha. But that's just tomorrow.
It's just one day.
Yeah.
Before, when I started there, we were closed for lunch every day. So, and the people appreciate having it open. So I appreciate them giving us a day to let the staff have lunch.
There you go.
So come join us. Come show the support to the donors. And then I will have photos for you to post.
Good. We would love to do that.
I have some photos of our King and Queen winner.
Oh, yeah.
But at the last minute, he said, oh, no, he didn't want it in the paper. So we've got to get a qualifying statement, answer something to make sure. So we will cut him off and send in the Queen's photo.
We need to have permission of the person in the photo.
Yes, we do. My staff said they thought he was joking,
but apparently not.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
He was kind of, you're kind of embarrassed that you were the one chosen, and your name is what got drawn out of the hat. So
yeah, well, we'll see.
Remind everybody, we are going out to eat. If you haven't signed up, it's going to be next Tuesday to Pecos Diamond at 4:30. And before I forget, this keeps coming to my head. Thank you so much for mentioning my name on the radio the other day that I sell Altrusa tickets.
I did say that.
You did, and somebody walked in and purchased 2 tickets from me. I was like, thank you, Gene.
Yeah.
I still have tickets. I appreciate everybody supporting us.
That's Sunday.
That's Sunday. Drive-through.
Yep, at West Main Church.
West Main Church. Some people still reference it. It was West Main Baptist. It's the one next to Sonic. So it's going to be exciting. We have to go blend chili, and they're telling us to cover our hair and do this and do that.
Got to do it right. So.
Oh, yeah. I worked with EID. Let me tell you, they will really get you.
Yep.
Okay. One other thing I really want to spend a few minutes on, Gene. A gentleman from and I left his card. I so apologize, sir. He's with the fire department for the Eddy County.
Okay.
Brought me this free event, and if you'd like, I'll leave this with you and make copies of my other one. It's not until March, but I wanted to get the word out because on here it says scan the above and register for a free smoke detector and fire extinguisher with installation.
Ooh.
Okay. It is available to all residents in Eddy County.
Okay.
They're going to inspect it, install it by a ECFR, Eddy County Fire Rescue. Okay. Some of the seniors don't know how to scan this to their phone and register. So why I wanted to start now is to let people know if they need help, come see us at the senior center.
We'll show how to scan and...
Well, or I'll get on the computer and do it the old-fashioned way for you.
Okay.
Because I still have some that have flip phones, and it's easier just to get on the computer and type it in.
Yeah.
But I want everybody to be covered by this. This is unreal. I've never heard of anything. It's going to be sponsored by the fire department, Lowe's, American Red Cross. It's just unreal. Who hears of this? Free
with an installation.
With installation.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I bought some, but and I did. I bought some, and the batteries right away started beep, 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 beep.
Right.
And I said, I'll get new batteries if y'all put them up there. He said, let us just look at it and see what needs. Because I didn't realize on my particular one, it said they're good for, I think it's only 10 years.
There is a end of life for some of the materials that are used to sense things. Yes,
Hey,
that's correct.
I thought, you buy it, it's good forever. I hate climate. They never go off till the middle of the night.
Right.
That little beep,
That's
beep.
right.
I live with a hearing impaired man who sleeps right through it.
It doesn't bother him at all.
And I try. And I finally wake him up and tell him, come help me hold the ladder while I climb up there and jerk that thing out of the ceiling.
Yeah. Now, and they tell you a tip is when it's time change weekend, that's a great weekend to change out all the batteries in your smoke detectors and CO detectors and stuff like that, is because it's something you remember. You've got to go change all the clocks. Go change out batteries while you're at it, and that way you're ahead of the beep, beep, beep.
I'm too cheap, Gene. I can't see taking out all those batteries that are still working.
I know.
And throw them away. And I thought the other day when this came, I thought, you could take them out and give them to the great-grandbabies to put in all their toys.
There's a little life left in them, yeah.
But 9-volt, most of the little toys don't require a 9-volt battery.
Right, that's right.
So, again, it's a free event. And now what he explained to me, it's going to be March the 11th. It's going to be a first-come, first-serve. But to let people know that if they don't get to them on that day, it will be continuing on.
Okay.
So not to be upset if they didn't get to you.
It's an ongoing project.
Right.
So trying to get this done. So.
We're going to leave this with you. I will have them posted at the senior center. I do not mind helping anybody. Right now we're real short staffed, so you might have to wait on me for a minute. But we will. And we do have computers available in the back in our computer lab that if they're comfortable, they can get on and log in for themselves and get themselves registered.
Good.
But if they need help, I'll do it.
Excellent. Residences of Eddy County.
Residents of Eddy County, I will
Well, thank
give
you
that
for
to
this.
you. Yes,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
So we'll get that done.
And they might be coming by sooner, but I just know we need a head start with our seniors to get things done. Again, I want to say thank you. And if you need Altrusa tickets, come to the senior center or give me a call.
Talk to Carol, okay? She's got your tickets.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Roughly 2 weeks after a train carrying toxic chemicals derailed in East Palestine, Ohio, the head of the Environmental Protection Agency is due to tour the area today. The EPA chief can expect an earful from local residents. One of them, Kathy Dyke, says answers have been slow in coming.
I honestly feel that the Palestine, the police department, the fire department, all the first responders, they don't have the answers to give us because I don't think they know. They're not getting the straight answers either.
East Palestine Mayor Trent Conaway says a railroad has been less than forthcoming. Didn't even send a representative to a town hall meeting last night.
Everybody's concerned. I'm concerned. But, it's not Norfolk Southern here. It's the EPA, the people that have been working with us, trying to get our citizens back into their own safe.
The investigation of the deadly mass shooting on the Michigan State University campus continues. And the MSU Deputy Police Chief Chris Rosman says that the gunman was armed with 2 9mm handguns along with additional ammunition.
A note was found on the shooter, and the location that the shooter was located was roughly 3.8 miles northwest of campus,
where the gunman took his own life after being cornered by police. 2 people in custody following a deadly shooting at a shopping mall in El Paso, Texas. 1 person killed, several others wounded. It is the latest reading on inflation at the wholesale level. The closely watched producer price index jumped 0.7% from December to January. Year over year, prices soared 6% from January of last year to last month. The sell-off rolls on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow down 229 points. The NASDAQ is off 64. The S&P 500 index down 24 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
We're entering a time of increasing hostility against people of faith, a time when Christians are going to be tested on a moral and physical and financial basis, unlike any other time in our lifetime. I'm Lance Wallnau, Christian author, evangelical leader, here to remind you that you have to take action to protect and steward what God has given you. For example, record high inflation is going to continue to eat away at the dollar, and the savings of your retirement account is in danger. Fortunately, God does provide a way. To protect your retirement, I recommend diversifying your 401k or IRA out of paper and into physical gold. And the best way to do that is with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. Now, to see how it works, just text the word FAITH to 989898. That'll give you access to a free info kit on gold IRAs. There are no strings attached, so text FAITH, F-A-I-T-H, to 989898 right now, and I pray your family is blessed with peace of mind because you took action.
The leader of Belarus tells the BBC that he's willing to allow Russia to use his country to launch fresh attacks on Ukraine.
1 year ago, Belarus became a staging ground for Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I asked Alexander Lukashenko, was he prepared to let Moscow use his country again as a launchpad for any future Russian offensive on northern Ukraine? Mr. Lukashenko said he was. He was even prepared to wage war alongside the Russians, but only, he said, if Belarus was attacked first. Mr. Lukashenko accused the West of fueling the war in Ukraine. He called for peace talks and invited President Biden to join him in Minsk for negotiations with Vladimir Putin, an invitation the U.S. president will likely decline.
The BBC's Steve Rosenberg in Moscow. The number of fatalities in the earthquake that devastated parts of southern Turkey, northern Syria, continues to rise, now close to 40,000. News and analysis, townhall.com. The Congressional Budget Office out with a forecast. It's an economic forecast. It sees stagnation ahead.
CBO's 10-year budget and economic outlook outlines stark expectations for the decade ahead, and it starts this year. The combination of high interest rates and still high, if easing, inflation will continue to affect U.S. households and businesses. And it projects the unemployment rate, which fell to 3.4% in January, will jump back up to 5.1%. Those expectations are paired with a 10-year projection that publicly held U.S. debt will nearly double by 2033 to $46.4 trillion. Ben Thomas, Washington.
Having announced her bid for the Republican presidential nomination this week, Nikki Haley now says that any politician who is over the age of 75 ought to be required to undergo a mental competency test. More on these stories. Townhall.com.
I know what you're expecting to hear right now, the announcement of today's KSVIP. Well, I don't have a name for today, and I need your help. If you know someone who needs to be recognized for being a very special person, call right now, 746-2751. Ask for Tana and schedule a KSVIP. Your special someone will be recognized at this time all day long on their day, and they'll receive a flower courtesy of Lovebud Floral in Artesia. So call today and schedule your KSVIP.
Mowing my front lawn. I know they're all thinking I'm so white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and nerdy. I wanna roll with the gangsters, but so far they all think I'm too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. I'm just too white and nerdy. Really, really white and nerdy.
Last year at MIT, got skills, I'm a champion of D&D. MC Escher, that's my favorite.
Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. Hour number 3. We're getting ready to get this thing rolling. And we look forward to having fun this hour. Unfortunately, all of our guests have prior commitments, so we don't have any of our regularly scheduled guests for us today. But we'll talk about stuff that's going on today. Earlier in the show, we had Dr. Ryan and Nurse Tupper from Artesia General Hospital, and they're having their heart discussion today at 5:30 this afternoon in the Green Chili Cafe. Hearty Health hors d'oeuvres will be served. Heart Healthy hors d'oeuvres will be served. And Dr. Ryan, cardiologist, Nurse Tupper, cardiology, and then they'll have a special guest, Sherry Wells, who is the New Mexico Executive Director of the American Heart Association. And so they're going to be there at 5:30 talk about things. One of the things Miss Tupper said she was going to talk about was it Damar Hamlin, the football player with the Buffalo Bills, who suffered a cardiac event in a football game recently. He was at the Super Bowl. Miraculous recovery when you think about what had happened and what happened to him with his heart, and the treatment that he received by the medical team and the emergency team there at the football stadium. Pretty miraculous to think about when you think about it. So she said she's going to talk a little bit about that, and Dr. Ryan will talk about signs, symptoms, things that you need to be aware of, that if you experience these types of symptoms or signs, it may be an indication of some heart issues, and you might want to consult with a physician. And so, yeah, they're going to leave plenty of time for questions tonight. So that starts at 5:30 at the Green Chili Cafe. Also, last hour on the Lois Oliver Show, we had Dan here from. We were so confused on names of things. Is it lilas or lilies? Ladybugs? Is it Paul? Is it Dan? Is it Lila? Is it Lily? Is it Lois Oliver or Lewis and Clark? Anyway, we had some fun with all that. But Dan has 2 gift certificates at Lois Oliver for a free treatment, residential bug treatment there. And if you call now, it's already almost 10 after, so maybe they've already gotten their phone calls. But the first 2 people that were to call Lois Oliver now, 575-748-9735, and the first 2 people to call would receive a free bug treatment there from Dan, and that's a pretty neat deal there. So if you haven't called, you might want to go ahead and call and see if they've given those gift certificates away, and take advantage of that. We were supposed to have Ryder on the radio with us, but he had a prior engagement that popped up on him. So we're just, it's just kind of funny. So let's take a look at the weather forecast right now, and then we come back. Jeffrey might find some of this interesting. 24 harmful terms scientists want to ban, including female and invasive. So we'll share some of those names here in just a little bit. But first, Steve, how about a weather forecast for us?
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We have cool high pressure moving back into eastern New Mexico today, 40 to 45 on our afternoon highs, and we should get sunshine and fairly light wind. Overnight it'll be clear and cold. We'll drop into the upper teens, and then we start warming up a little bit on Friday, sunshine and close to 50. By Saturday, we're back to the low 60s, upper 60s on Sunday, and sunny. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Steve-O, thank you very much as we look at the beautiful images from our live webcam east of town. Looking back to the west, it's sunny and clear and very nice looking out there. Don't see too much in the way of wind. It's not very warm. It's kind of chilly out there. Sunny and 28 in Artesia. We are still sub-freezing temperatures at this hour. Our winds are out of the north at 8 with gusts to 12. Our humidity is 50%. The dew point is 12. Pressure at 30.38 and rising. Our air quality is 49. We have good air quality, so when you stir all of this up and throw it out on the floor, you get a wind chill of 20. So it feels like it's 20 out there with all of that wind and so forth. We have a high temperature yesterday of 59 degrees. The overnight low was 20. 1 year ago, we had a high of 77 and a low of 22. Our sunset will be at 5:43, and the sunrise will be at 6:38. Around the region, sunshine, 31 in Carlsbad, 26 in Roswell, 27 in Hobbs, and it's pretty well sunshiny all across New Mexico at this hour. 22 in Albuquerque, 16 in Santa Fe, 19 in Cloudcroft, 20 in Ruidoso, 33 in Las Cruces, 9 in Farmington, 7 at Red River, 21 in Clovis, and in West Texas, it's windy in Lubbock. They've got winds out of the north-northwest at 17 with gusts to 27 and 26 degrees. El Paso, looks like the flurry activity has moved off. It's mostly sunny in El Paso and 35 degrees there. They're dealing with another shooting at the mall down there yesterday. There's a lot of craziness going on around the country right now. That's not the first shooting that's happened down in El Paso at that mall or near that mall. We've had military aircraft drop out of the sky. We've had train derailments all across the country. You got the one in Palestine, Ohio, that's really got a lot of people concerned whether or not they've taken proper action to mitigate that situation there. We've got balloons flying over. We're shooting at balloons with missiles that we miss and land in the lake. And then, Jeffrey, this is where you may want to comment on some of this. Then we've got scientists who have been a part of this EEB language project, and they've published a list of harmful terminology in science. And I didn't know there was such a thing as harmful terminology in science. I thought science was science. You know, the study of things, the analysis of stuff, the workings of things. You know, I thought it was science. I didn't think there could be harmful terminology in science.
Well, I did read a report a few weeks ago that, once again, this was scientists.
Yeah.
That within a month or two, we're going to run out of words that are offensive. So
this is probably true.
Webster's Dictionary is freaking out, trying to find out if they have to update it.
Well, and then the Chat GPT, we were having fun with the Chat GPT. Well, it's got a bias. Jordan Peterson's daughter asked Chat GPT to write a paper in the style of her dad.
Yeah.
And it said, your dad is an offensive sucker, and we ain't doing that. Seriously, well, I mean, didn't use those words, but that's basically what it said. Your dad is offensive, and we don't do offensive things. And so, no, we're not going to write a paper in the style of your father because he's offensive. And so, it's artificial intelligence. Why does it have a bias in it, you know?
So, okay, test it to try to do that with, was it Greta?
Oh, it wrote glowing things about her. You know, ask the Chat GPT to write something nice about Donald Trump, and it can't. Ask it to write something nice about Joe Biden, and you get a 200-word document on what a wonderful guy the old goof is.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so already people are discovering that there is a left-wing bias to the artificial intelligence, and the artificial intelligence should not have any bias. The only bias it's going to have is that which has been inputted by the humans who program the artificial intelligence.
It's like whenever I see something with a graph or a chart showing true data.
Yeah.
No, you can take any set of data and make it align with your point of view.
Yeah.
Just by adjusting the questions you're asking that data.
Who was it that said there's lies, damn lies, and statistics?
Yeah.
And all that. All right, so here's our offensive terms. Here's the harmful term. Alien or non-native, exotic or invasive.
So will Roswell be in serious trouble?
Yeah, because these are considered xenophobic, anti-immigrant, and militaristic. To use alien, non-native, exotic, or invasive. Okay? So here's the term you're supposed to use.
Okay.
Non-endemic species. Newly arrived species. Non-indigenous species. Introduced species. Or nuisance species.
Nuisance. Have they renamed a UFO?
Citizen science is an offensive term. It is harmful to non-citizens who are excluded by that language.
Oh, this is difficult.
So here's what you're supposed to use, Jeffrey. Participant science or community science. That's the correct term you're supposed to use from here on out.
No, your science project in science class, it did not blow up on accident.
Yeah. All right, here's another one. Blind, double blind, or plant blindness. So you've heard of a double blind study, like when they're doing research to determine whether or not something's going to kill you or whatever. They do a double blind study. That is a disability metaphor. You cannot use that term anymore in science. The word is awareness. So we're going to do an awareness study or a double awareness study or a plant awareness study, not a double blind or a plant blindness study.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Feminized, masculinized. Those are offensive terms. Feminized implies that feminine and masculine are biological traits rather than social constructs.
Oh. This is...
You don't know what to say.
It's speechless. I want to talk to real friends that are in have gone into the scientific world.
Yeah.
And find out how if this has adjusted their entire process at Raytheon or Intel or any other.
That's right. So, feminized, it implies that feminine and masculine are biological traits. I'm sorry, scientists, they are.
I'm so glad my mother is a woman.
Yeah. Well, me too. Here
a birthing person.
Or anyway, what you are supposed to do is describe the specific traits. So you can't say feminized. You have to say throws like a girl. Can you say that?
Oh, what else? That person listens like a man.
Yeah, exactly. They don't listen. Okay. Gypsy is a offensive scientific term. Harmful scientific term. Gypsy.
Okay, so the gypsies that consider themselves gypsies in Romania, what can I call them?
Well, here's your answer. It is a racial slur used to incite violence against Romani people. So in other words, if you call a gypsy, the gypsy is then offended and will fight you. The correct term, and I'm not making this up, spongy moth. You can't call it a gypsy moth or use the word gypsy in science. You have to use the word spongy moth.
I'm trying to decide if I'm thinking about sending a text to some of my friends in Romania and ask them if they will be upset next time I'm there, if I begin calling them that.
That's right. Here's another scientist. They want to ban this term. Survival of the fittest. We have to ban that from science because eugenics
ableism, and social Darwinism. That's why it's a bad term to use. It is a harmful term to use. Harmful. So you're going to use natural selection or survival differences.
Survival differences. Well, we all went into the war, but we all had survival differences.
Yeah. Now, this one has been an issue for a while. Indian apparently is a harmful term in science. Discriminatory, racist term used to describe indigenous people. You are supposed to use the word indigenous.
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 But can we still call people from India Indians?
And is that discriminatory?
Right.
Excellent question. So I'm calling tech support in indigenous land.
We need to get Bill Nye onto the phone.
Oh, no. All right, here we go. Male, female. These terms are used to reinforce socially imposed ideas of a sex binary, emphasizing cis-normative and heteronormative views. This is in science. We're not talking about social studies or whack job college kids. We're talking science. So we can't use male and female to describe the different genders in science. Yeah. Here are the terms you are supposed to use. Sperm producing, egg producing, or an XYXX individual.
Okay. I don't know. It's perplexing.
It is perplexing. Mother, father. These terms perpetuate a non-universal, heteronormative, and cis-normative view of the parenting and birthing process. Again, we're talking scientists now. We're not talking about social idiots. We're talking about science, which is supposed to be about facts, or at least the discovery of facts, or the proving or disproving of theories and things like that.
Scientific method.
Scientific method. So you're supposed to use parent, egg donor, or sperm donor. So we have Egg Donor Day coming up in May, and we have Sperm Donor Day coming up in June. So get your cards and gifts ready. And who do you give this stuff to anyway, since it is a cis or hetero-informative deal? So if Mother's Day can't be called Mother's Day, if we have to call it Egg Donor Day...
Well, okay, on that,
yes.
Does that mean, what does that do for adopted children?
Exactly.
And test tube babies.
That's right. Well, that would probably fit the scientific term, because an egg donor and a sperm donor were thrown into a tube, and out came something.
So it's not
viable cells.
Adoptive mother and father.
Yeah.
It's a egg producer and sperm producer who didn't create me.
Correct. Yeah, just so you know. Rape is another word. This will be our last one here. Rape. Now, I think we all think we know what rape is.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing.
No.
It's a bad thing. But it's harmful. It's harmful because it is a strategy rather than a violent and traumatic act, which can lead to dangerous misconceptions that is a natural behavior, and the use of the term forces survivors to be confronted with it, which is traumatic.
Oh.
So if you are a rape victim, it is traumatic to be confronted with the rape that you had to endure. Or if you are a perpetrator of rape, it is a strategy, not a violent act.
Okay, that's kind of making me think of ethnic cleansing that happens of kill the boys, rape the women.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not rape. Get a different culture.
Well,
it's pregnant.
Forced
procreation?
Something like that. Anyway, just thought I'd make your day a happy day today.
Oh, gee,
with
thanks.
the harmful terms that we have to stop using in science.
You know, and people called me a jerk when I was in
let me see if that's on
younger,
the list here.
Because I spoke my mind. Now, even speaking my mind as everyone else means I'm a jerk.
You know what else is on here? Noose. Noose is on this list. Now, we know what a noose is.
Yeah.
Okay. They've been used for bad things, but there's a purpose for a noose. Used derogatorily towards humans or human practices, and also scientifically inaccurate as implies... Oh, I'm thinking of a different word here. Okay, it's a term associated with anti-black violence and lynching, noose is. So you're supposed to use lasso. The last time we saw a lasso implemented was when New Mexico State fired Pistol Pete and brought out Lasso Larry.
Yeah.
How long did that last? You know. Who's back? Pete is back.
So
he's the interim basketball coach. No.
What do we do with the rodeos?
Exactly. Well, those are lassos.
They're lassos, but now does that imply that they are hanging the cows?
That's right. So, something to think about. Thank you, Jeffrey. We'll be back with our stock market update next.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keon at Carabelli Dental. Same-day smiles are what we do. My passion is helping patients chew, talk, and live with confidence. That's why I'm one of the few doctors in the U.S. who can create beautiful same-day smiles with the latest digital implant technology. This procedure is life-changing. Just ask Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I've been that voice that you've heard on the radio for most of my life, but I'm also a dad to 2 amazing kids. I've had a million reasons to smile, but in all my old pictures, I was never smiling. Truth is that life of improper care and being dealt a bad hand genetically left me practically with no teeth. It affected everything from the way I ate, the way I talked, and of course how I interacted with people. And that's where Dr. Keon and Carabelli stepped in. They eased my fears. They explained every step of the process in a way that I could understand, and they made me feel almost like I was part of the team. And now I can't stop smiling. I have so much more confidence, and I love looking in the mirror now. I can't explain how much of a difference Dr. Keon's dental implant process made for me.
Our team can help you find your smile too. Come see us at Carabelli Dental, 575-622-4455.
The Calico Cow is moving to a new home. Coming Monday, February 20th, visit the Calico Cow at their new home, 200 East College behind Farley's in Roswell. Lots of exciting changes at the new Calico Cow. New LED lighting, an amazing large classroom, plus more space, which means lots of new items and an even bigger selection of fabrics. Come see it for yourself, beginning February 20th. Want to know how? Come see the cow. The Calico Cow's new home at 200 East College in Roswell.
Hello, folks. Martin here from PRMI. That's right, Primary Residential Mortgage Incorporated. I've been waiting a while to reveal the great news that we've taken our parent company name and things are only getting better for Southern New Mexico. I'm excited to announce that everything we do will be handled in-house. I have a dedicated processing, underwriting, and closing team, thus streamlining our process or your purchase or refinance. When you're looking for an in-town lender or someone that will communicate with you one-on-one and give you straight answers, call me, 575-749-6278, or visit me online at martin.chooseprimres.com. Remember, Martin at PRMI for your home finance.
PRMI is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 3094. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1815286.
Looking at Aaron's slideshow today, what did the president say yesterday?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows what the president said yesterday. He was babbling on about all kinds of stuff yesterday and not making any sense. And it's really a shame that is the leader of the free world.
Yes, it is.
So, let's see. There's all kinds of craziness going on with some of his nominations. And so, hopefully the FCC person won't get in. They already didn't have enough votes to get him in last time. And now with the Democrats in control of the Senate, they think they can go ahead and shove this anti-Fox News left-wing idiot to be in charge of the FCC. So that does look like Bernie Sanders out there.
He does, yeah.
So happy President's Day. I have a joke for you.
Okay.
What rock group has 4 guys who don't sing?
What rock group has 4 guys that don't sing?
Yes.
I don't know.
Mount Rushmore.
Ah, very good.
you have Mount Rushmore on your deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Pearls before swine today. Chocolate, cheese, ice cream. Rat says grocery list. Pig says this. A paper called Why Life is Worth Living by Pig. And Goat says starting with food, and Pig says it's all food. Right,
absolutely.
Let's see if you get this one today. What the heck happened here? They're sitting in water in their backyard. Pig, I thought I'd be fun to build a dam across the creek in our backyard, but now I've flooded everything. Rat, what do you know about building dams? Pig, nothing. You damn fool. Comic strip censor, you anger me to no end. Pig, this stupid damn thing. Gonna get him in trouble. Dilbert was good the other day.
Oh, okay.
The employee award for the lowest carbon footprint goes to Wally for the 7th year in a row. This year, Wally is a double winner for also being the least bigoted employee. Wally, would you like to say a few words about how you did it? Pass. Watch and learn, people. The less you do, the smaller your carbon footprint and the lower your risk of offending someone.
Right.
So Dilbert says, have you ever wondered if we reward the wrong things? And the pointy hair boss points at Dilbert and says, don't be like this, bigot. So that's what I have today. What do you have for today?
Well, an old man in a nursing home says to a woman, I bet you can't guess how old I am. She responds, I bet I can. Drop your pants. He does, and the woman says, you're 96 years old. Amazed, the old man asked her how she knew that. She said, you told me at breakfast.
Funning with him.
Yeah. There were 2 elderly gentlemen sitting inside of a nursing home, casually sipping their coffee. The one facing the door glances up as the night shift tech who's leaving for the day presses in the code on the door. He presses 1749 star into the door before opening it and leaving. The old man softly says to the other one, 1749 star. The second man smiles contentedly. We're breaking out tonight. They winked at each other and let out a soft chuckle. About an hour later, as another employee stepped out for a break and the morning show played on the TV, the first elderly gentleman watching the door leans over and softly says to the other one, 1749 star. The second man smiles contentedly. We're breaking out tonight. They winked at each other and left out a soft chuckle.
They forgot that they were breaking out already tonight.
Right, yeah. Forgot they knew the code.
Knew the code, yeah. I've written that down, by the way, 1749 star, so that may be a good code to use.
There you go, yeah.
So, I don't know how... I'm confused. There's a lot of craziness going on in the world.
There is.
We got trains derailing. We got military copters falling out of the sky. We got shootings going on in malls. We got missiles being shot at unidentified objects. I mean, it's just crazy out there right now.
You got the legislature in Santa Fe.
Oh, I know. The NMAA is contemplating a 2 strikes and you're out policy for fans and people that attend ball games. You be an idiot once, that's your first strike. You're an idiot again, you're never going to get to see your kid play.
You can make it worthwhile the second time, right?
Well, don't encourage them. Don't encourage them.
The one for the record books.
Oh, I tell you what, it's just it's crazy. So
it is. It is a crazy world we live in.
Yeah. Is there any hope? Is there any? I mean, we got the president telling us the economy is fantastic, unemployment's at the lowest it's ever been. They're tackling inflation, and their policies are working.
Okay.
Do I believe him? Should I believe him? Should I believe what he says?
About as much as you should believe those science terms you were talking about.
Oh my gosh, then we've got that going on. We got Don Lemon telling everybody that Nikki Haley is past her prime. Shouldn't be running for president of the United States.
What is she, like 50-something?
I know. And who do we have in the White House now?
You got that old man that can't finish a sentence.
I know. So what is he talking about? Why is he the one to determine who is who's past their prime or not?
Yeah, of course, anybody that listens to Don Lemon for any type of advice is suspect anyways.
I mean, here's what Biden said yesterday. 12 million new jobs, 50-year low unemployment, 800,000 manufacturing jobs. The Biden economic plan is working. That's what the president tweeted 14 hours ago. I'm looking right at it right here. He tweeted that.
Unleash a pandemic created by a foreign enemy while your predecessor's president, and you can have quite a bit of return of jobs.
Yeah. President tweeted 18 hours, in building our EV charging network, we have to ensure that as many chargers work for as many drivers as possible. To that end, Elon Musk will open a big part of Tesla's network up to all drivers. See, right now, the only people that can charge on a Tesla charger is a Tesla owner.
Right.
And there's been some pressure being applied to Tesla, which built out the network.
Right.
They built it out. Hey, you got to make to where everybody can charge on your network that you built out, that you financed through the sale of cars to people that buy your cars so they can charge on your network.
And all the Tesla people have to wait in line now behind all the lower people.
I don't get it. Ford had to stop production on their electric pickup truck for a little while. They had a battery blow up on a pre-check, before they sent it out to check, inspection or whatever. They had a battery catch fire.
And that's what they want to be all we've got. We want all we've got to be those battery cars that catch on fire.
Yeah. Let's see. The president said big oil has used their record profits to buy back their own stock, rewarding their CEOs and shareholders instead of producing new oil to lower prices at the pump.
Because Biden said oil's going to end in 10 years. Why would you invest billions of dollars on a new one?
That's right. He wants to quadruple the tax on stock buybacks.
All right.
And encourage long-term investments instead.
In a technology that he says is not going to be around after 10 years.
That's right. So, yeah, he's together. I know. This is Biden speaking. I know we can build a future where half of all cars sold in America are electric. In fact, let's do it by 2030.
You just don't allow people to buy other types of cars. Then you got half of them sold that way.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's the president tweeting. He tweets things a lot.
Good job, Mr. Resident.
Did you see the picture? A lot of people on Valentine's Day posted pictures of them with their loved one, their wife, their girlfriend, whatever. Did you see the one that Bill Clinton tweeted?
Uh-oh, was it Monica?
No. It was him and Hillary from back in their college days.
Oh, okay.
And I showed that to a couple folks, and they looked at who's the woman? I said, that's Hillary.
People kept asking him why you married her. He's like, here, let me show you. Wasn't always this way.
So anyway, what is Jeffrey here?
That photo.
Back when they were just cousins. No. She was from Chicago. She was from Illinois. And she was named after Sir Hillary Clinton, who climbed the mountain after she was born.
Fake backstory.
All right. Do you have another one for us, or?
What is the president when he loses his pee?
Depends.
I do have one more for you.
Okay.
Granddad went into a nursing home, so I called to see how he was doing. The nurse said, he's like a fish out of water. I said, so he's finding it hard to adjust? She said, no, he's dead. Fish out of water?
Well, that's a terrible way to break that news. That's horrible. And why did he have to call to find out? That's terrible.
Biden nursing homes.
Well, we got to use the right woke terms, So
right.
I'll look through and see if dead is a.
Biden your time. So.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see if dead is a harmful term. And,
oh yeah, life. See, we call it life. I don't know.
Well, there's that whole exchange. If you go to the Dead Parrot skit on Monty Python, and he goes through this whole litany of ways to describe that the parrot is dead, bereft of life, and he finishes with, it's an ex-parrot.
Ex-living.
All right. Well, we probably ought to let you tell us how the markets are doing today, because that's important information.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. All right. This is Aaron Irving with LPL Financial, member of FINRA and the SIPC, bringing you your mid-morning stock market report for Thursday, February 16th. Stocks are lower this morning after another hot inflation report and a decline in jobless claims showed the economy is holding up amid the Federal Reserve's rate hikes. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was 0.78% lower, while the S&P 500 dipped 0.74%, along with the NASDAQ composite. Goldman Sachs, Microsoft, and Amgen contributed the most to the Dow's decline, losing nearly 1% each. Every S&P 500 sector was lower, with real estate, utilities, and industrials leading the way. January's Producer Price Index, another inflation measure, rose 0.7% on the month, while economists surveyed by Dow Jones had expected a 0.4% increase. Also, initial jobless claims unexpectedly fell for the week, ending February 11th, per a Labor Department report this morning. The new data comes after January's Consumer Price Index and retail sales report were both higher than expected, suggesting that the Federal Reserve may have further to go in its efforts to tame inflation. Still, the markets have remained resilient. Yesterday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up 0.11%, while the S&P 500 climbed 0.28%, and the NASDAQ composite notched its third straight day of gains, rising 0.92%. The Wisdom Tree Cloud Computing Fund is down more than 2% today and on pace for its first negative day in 4. Major moves in a few key stocks included in the fund are weighing on the performance. Shares of Toast, Shopify, Amplitude, and Ring Central are all down more than 10%. In addition, Toast and Ring Central are on track for their worst days since February of 2022 and March 2020, respectively. Currently, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 232 points at 33,896. The S&P 500 is down 22 points to 4,125, and the NASDAQ composite is 60 points lower at 12,009. West Texas Intermediate crude is up 14 cents a barrel to $78.73. Stocks of local interest, HF Sinclair is up 4 cents a share to $54.54. Walmart is down $1.08 to $145.49 a share. Apple is up 7 cents a share to $155.39. And Oxy Petroleum is 36 cents higher at $63.26 a share. This is Aaron Irving with Oakley & Irving Wealth Management, serving business owners and energy industry professionals in the Pecos Valley and beyond. Find us at oiwealth.com or at our offices in Artesia and Carlsbad. You can call us at 575-887-7075. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member of FINRA, and the SIPC.
Yeah, Nikki Haley's 51.
51. Again, she's not qualified because she's too old.
She's past her prime as a politician, according to Don Lemon. So,
She's past his prime as a news person or a TV person or whatever.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, have a wonderful day today on Residence Day. And what are you doing on Monday? Are you?
Monday will be closed.
Okay.
So.
That's what I wanted to. They were asking me, and I said I don't know. Yeah. I will ask. So, no market conversation on Monday.
We're working for Residence Day, but not for President's Day.
That's right. That's right. All right. Thanks a lot, Aaron. One more time, let's pop down the hall, see what Jared's dug up for you. We've got our sports update, and Sean Hannity has a thought on the news of the day.
Your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. A new audit report of Eddy County's finances shows continued growth in 2022. In fact, the report shows consistent growth over the past 5 years. The firm Carr, Riggs, and Ingram studied Eddy County's finances and found no negative results. The report shows Eddy County's cash balance went up by more than $70 million from June of 2021 to June of 2022, mainly due to gross tax receipt increases in the oil and gas industry. A panel of New Mexico House lawmakers are endorsing a $1 billion increase in the annual state general fund spending to raise public salaries, shore up rural health care networks, and expand no-pay daycare and college. The increase would tap into a financial windfall linked to robust local oil and natural gas production. The budget plan for the coming fiscal year also responds to an eventual economic transition away from fossil fuels in the nation's #2 state for oil production by investing up to $850 million in a trust to generate earnings and sustain public services in the future. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
It's time for the Eddy County Sports Report. State Wrestling Championships begin tomorrow in Rio Rancho, and we've got several Carlsbad and Artesia wrestlers. Remember, this is Artesia's first year that we're going to keep an eye on. For instance, for Carlsbad's boys at 114 pounds, Marcus Nahara, a senior, is 32-7. Luke Waters from Carlsbad is 31-9 on the season. He's a senior. He'll be wrestling at 152. For the Carlsbad girls, how about Rosalia Rubio, a junior? She's at 114. She's 23-2 on the season. And Nera Miranda, ninth grader from Carlsbad, at 126. She's 21-4. From Artesia, let's keep an eye on Zane Skinner at 152. He's a senior, 25-9 on the season. And Mateo Ramirez from Artesia, a junior, at 160. He's 30-10. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at KSVP Radio AM 990.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
We're not being told the truth. That I can tell you. Because they don't even know. Why would we fire at objects that we haven't even identified what they are, but take them out of or have our Air Force take them out of the sky? By the way, in a couple of cases, overpopulated areas, which they said they never would do, which was the excuse for allowing the first spy balloon to make its way all the way across the entire country. So we've got Joe Biden's disastrous first decision not to shoot down the first Chinese spy balloon. Now they're saying that they saw it beforehand. Well, if you saw it beforehand, why didn't you take it down beforehand? It's now metastasized into a national security disaster as well as a political nightmare, and nobody's answering any questions at all whatsoever.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month. a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-863-5858. That's 1-800-863-5858. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-863-5858. That's 1-800-863-5858.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
This is Jason Espinoza with today's Capitol Report. The official midpoint of the first session of the 56th legislature is Thursday, February 16th. The midpoint of the legislative session also marks the deadline for bill introduction for both the state Senate and the House of Representatives. So far, the House of Representatives have introduced 420 bills, 46 memorials, and 13 constitutional amendments. On the other side, the Senate has introduced 442 bills, 56 memorials, and 11 constitutional amendments. Additionally, the Senate has passed 14 Senate bills over to the House, and the House has passed 13 bills over to the Senate for consideration. Only 3 bills have passed both chambers. The first was House Bill 1, otherwise known as the Feed Bill, which appropriates the funding for the legislative session and staff. The second bill that has passed both chambers is Senate Bill 6, sponsored by Senator Pete Campos, which appropriates $100 million for the purpose of providing zero-interest loans to local governments to replace or repair infrastructure damaged by fire, flooding, or debris flows caused by the Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire. The third and final bill that has passed both chambers at this point is Senate Bill 364, sponsored by Senators Peter Wirth and Greg Baca, which reverses a 2022 State Ethics Commission informal opinion that prohibited a legislator from using legislative letterhead under certain circumstances. For the New Mexico News Network, I'm Jason Espinoza.
Well, there's they're working on a new Indiana Jones movie. They've had, 4? Well, 3 that people acknowledge, and then a 4th one. And now there's going to be a 5th one. And some writings from the director. The director, James Mangold, has made some comments that some fans are a little concerned about. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is supposed to be in theaters at the end of June. Millions of fans claim they're excited. It'll be the last time people get to watch Harrison Ford put on the hat and crack the whip. However, it sounds like things will be different in the 5th film, judging from Mangold's comments to The Hollywood Reporter. He said the first 3 Indiana Jones movies took place in roughly the same period. They all easily fit with the serialized, theatrical, almost screwball action style of the movies that were being released in the period they're set in. The challenge for Steven Spielberg on Crystal Skull and me on this one is how do you move forward into new decades where the world is no longer seen in such clear demarcations of black and white and good and evil. The whole concept of raiding tombs and fighting over relics is looked at in a different way. It's not about changing the story, but allowing the character to experience how the world has changed around him, said Mangold to The Hollywood Reporter. He said, and our perception of politics is more gray. Who's a villain? Who are we working with? Who are we fighting against? Proxy wars, all of that. It's not as simple as the era around World War II. What happens to a hero built for a black and white world when he finds himself in one that is gray? So that's the director of the 5th Indiana Jones movie, which is coming out at the end of June, called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I don't know. Is that another one they're going to ruin? Or will it be a good one? We'll have to wait and see. Final thoughts on stuff going on today when we come back.
Jennifer from Trustmark Roofing here, and I can tell you it's not always easy being a female in a male-dominated business like roofing. I remember one time I was at a meeting to bid on the roof for a local college, and it was me and 13 men. Well, I won that bid, and I'd like to win your business too. My dad was a contractor, and I've been around building and roofing my whole life. I'm licensed and bonded, and I've forgotten more about roofing than most roofers ever knew in the first place. But what really sets Trustmark apart is an obsessive attention to detail that ensures that everything goes smoothly the first time. I promise we will treat you right with respect, and we will make you happy. So yeah, it might be a bit odd for a woman to own a roofing company, but give us a try. Let us give you an estimate for your roof. I think you'll be glad you called. For all your roofing needs, call us at 575-755-ROOF or find us online at TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
The global demand for oil and natural gas is growing, and leaders are looking to American producers to satisfy that demand with the abundant resources available in our country. If you're passionate about keeping energy affordable for your neighbor and reliable for everyone, then it's time you consider a career in oil and natural gas. Coterra Energy is expanding their Permian team and is offering an unmatched employee benefits package. If you're interested in applying, text Coterra to 71441. That's COTERRA to 71441. Coterra Energy is an equal opportunity employer.
What's tougher than a Ford truck? Finding a Ford truck. Artesia Ford Sales is ready to help with a great selection of certified pre-owned Ford trucks. All certified pre-owned vehicles qualify for low 0.99% interest for 36 months. If a new Ford truck is what you want, let us order your new truck from the factory. Artesia Ford can price protect your selection. The price today is the price you'll pay when your new truck is delivered. Don't let buying a new truck be tough. Make buying a Ford truck easy by visiting Artesia Ford Sales today.
Artesia General hosting their Heart event this afternoon, 5:30 at the Green Chili Cafe. They will have heart-healthy hors d'oeuvres served, and Dr. Ryan, cardiology, Nurse Tupper, cardiology, and Sherry Wells, New Mexico Executive Director, American Heart Association, will be there to talk about heart issues and answer your questions. So that'll be going on today at 5:30. The Mother Goose is not Mother Goose, Toddler Move and Play coming up at 11 today at the library. Steam after school this afternoon at 4. Widows Might, support group for widows at all stages of grief. That's tonight at 6:30 at West Main Church. And then coming up tomorrow, the Homecoming Assembly in the Red Brick Gym at 1:45. We're going to stream that. And then homecoming and basketball tomorrow night at the Pit, including the Sixth Man Club's 7th annual hamburger fry. And it's also opening night for Who Poisoned His Meatball at the Ocotillo on Friday night. The Casa Light of Hope Gala is coming up on Saturday night at the Country Club, and the Altrusa Smorgasbord is on Sunday. See you back here tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.